Blog Talk Radio.
These faggots jumping out of order, breaching black power borders, marching what they found, supporters dressing wild, loud, and Horace talking about. Even when he was a little child, we saw it. He would dress in blouses, tuck his phallus. It was kinda sorted, horrid flower, not a florist or botanical. For fans that choose to hear it allegoric, he threw it and he caught it. They lip kissing, really clicking. Okay, that was porous. They broke the levees, now we're fags flooded like New Orleans. You cheering Caitlin, that freak shoulda stayed a man. He blowing trombones like Nick Hudson, let me zone. It's Mayakaru Entertainment. We just wanted to give him a taste of it. Let's get out of here.
My ancestors woke me up this morning. They say, son, you do know what time it is, don't you? I said, what time is that? They said it's war time. So welcome to the War Front, brothers and sisters. Glad that you could be with us on this Monday, November 9th, 2015, year of the white race. We are working to bring their rule on planet Earth to an end as soon as practicable. Very, very, very glad we can have you in the house this evening for another, what proves to be an outstanding program, very interesting program, and quite frankly, this is going to be a very controversial program we're going to have tonight, as we're going to be discussing and talking about the LGBT community, if that's what you want to call them. I'm at this point really convinced that they have successfully, and it's very unfortunate, but they have successfully recruited many in the some of the Black Power organizations or organizations that were traditionally so-called Black Power organizations into support for the LGBT homosexual agenda, destruction of the black race. So, of course, that's an agenda. Of course, we all know we don't agree with, we're not part of, we don't agree with. But at the same time, it's happening now. And it's something that we have to deal with, and we're going to talk about it this program. I got some very, very recent things that have happened that make it necessary to have this discussion. In fact, I'm going to talk about what happened this weekend when we were down in Houston. But I'm also going to start talking about a few of the events we have coming up. So let me just do this, brothers and sisters. Please forgive me for stumbling a little bit. I just want to, I had to get a new Facebook page, so we're going to talk about that as well. I just want to go ahead and put it, you can go to Irritated Genie. I know some people say, what happened to the Ayo Kimathi page? Weirdly enough, Facebook got rid of the Ayo Kimathi page. They shut it down for no reason except that, then again, I didn't think about it. Maybe they didn't want my name to get the popularity. I don't know why they shut it down. I have no idea. I know part of the reason we were getting a lot of publicity and a lot of movement. People were listening, and we had over 5,000 friends, but people were spreading the word, and the message has been spreading. And obviously, they're seeing it and realizing that it's having a negative impact on their ability to keep our people in the same condition, and so they shut it down. But we're now Irritated Genie page. They put that one back up, which is an old page that we had before, and they reopened this page. Why they did it, I don't know. But as long as we got it, we might as well use it. So go on and add on. There's a lot of room for brothers and sisters who wanted to be friends in the past. We weren't able to do it because we're up to our 5,000 limit. So we only at about 2,700 now. So we got another 2,500 that should take us at least a week or so to get to 5,000 done. So that means we should have time for brothers and sisters to go ahead and join us on Facebook. It's Irritated Genie, and you can reach us there. Also, want to talk about events that we have coming up. So let me go ahead and jump on over here on the internet. It's a beautiful thing to be using technology in our interest, So you can go to thewarnhorizon.com either on the first page, you'll see right there the flyers we have for this upcoming weekend, or you can go to the events page and you can see what we have. We have 2 outstanding, brand new lectures, first time lectures, first time ever done anywhere on planet Earth. Irritated Genie, we're going to be in the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia. 2-day lecture, brothers and sisters. Not 1 day, 2 days. Saturday is a lecture, it's a lecture for adults, because this is probably going to be one of the deepest lectures that we've done in terms of the information that we deal with and the level and depth of the insanity that we deal with in this lecture. So be prepared for a whole new or one of the old school lectures from Irritated Genie. Not necessarily with the fire, but where we really dig into the psychopathic insanity of the European mind. It's called Possessed. And the basic premise of this is something that Amos Wilson talked about. He talked about the fact that when we're in an enslaved situation and we are not operating with our normal African mind, that our African mind and spirit and personality can become possessed with the mind of the enslaver, in this case the European. And we can actually become a living, breathing example of wanting to be a European. And so in Possessed, we're going to talk about the possession of the black mind and spirit being possessed by that of the European and becoming a living reflection of that European in the things that we think, act, and do. So we're going to be dealing with some very serious and deep psychological realities of who and what we are becoming as a race of people, and that's Possessed, 5 p.m. 6th. It's at the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia, this Saturday, November 14, 2015 at 5 p.m., 33 West 35th Street, Norfolk, Virginia, 23508, $10 event. For more information, you can call 757-314-1943. Again, that's 757-314-1943. This is going to be an outstanding lecture that you're not going to want to miss. I promise you it's going to be different than the ones we've done before, because we're not going to rely on a lot of documentation in this one. Rather, we're going to rely on the psychological breakdown and analysis of our behavior as a race of people based on our possession by foreign interests and entities and ideas. Then on Sunday, another brand new lecture that's completely outside of the box of Warner Horizon. We're actually going to do a lecture called Straight Black Pride, Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Families. Yes, I said it. This is going to be the first and maybe only feel-good lecture that Warner Horizon has ever done, where we don't go deep into I think the Race Giant, some people believe that that's a very, very strong and feel-good lecture as well. But in this particular lecture, again, Straight Black Pride, Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Families, it is a lecture designed to make you feel good and be excited about the premise of what we can do in the 21st century to uplift our people out of the condition that we're in and take us in the direction that we need to go as a race of people. So you want to come on out. That's 5 p.m. on Sunday, November the 15th. And believe me, you're really, 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 truly going to enjoy this lecture. It's a lecture you do not want to miss. It's a different lecture than any one that we've ever done. It's going to be a feel-good day. Bring your children. Bring them. Very, very little and minimal discussion of any of the negative things. If we mention them, we'll only mention homosexuality in words, maybe a picture or two here and there, but it won't be anything extreme like you'll get with the Possessed. We're asking for adults or teenagers because this is going to be a very deep lecture where we deal with some very serious psychology of who and what we're becoming under the system of racism and white supremacy, how we get in this way, and how we exercise these demons and this foreign personality out of the spirit of African people. So you do not want to miss this lecture called Possessed. So that's a 2-day weekend this weekend, brothers and sisters. $10 an event. You want to come out and check it out. You're going to love it. We'll be looking forward to you doing that. Also want to remind brothers and sisters again, you can go to Facebook and put in Irritated Genie, and you can join us on Facebook right now. While there's many opens, we got 2,700 now, which means we got about 2,300 more people that we can accept on Facebook. So jump in there and get in while the getting's good. Also, one of the things we're going to do in order to combat the social networking war that's being waged against straight black pride movement. Interesting enough, they used to shut down the War on the Horizon pages when we first started growing. But then it got to the point, I think they saw that War on the Horizon, only the strongest of the strong were going to come this direction. We were getting our information out anyway, so they kind of laid off that. But, man, this straight black pride platform, I've never seen the Europeans, the small hats, the white sex offenders, the LGBT community, I've never seen them this shook up. I mean, we really landed a solid blow with this one now. And, they just fighting tooth and nail. So what we're going to do, coming soon, we're going to ask brothers and sisters on our email list and through Facebook, we want volunteers who are tech savvy. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a team of people. We want at least 20 people to be committed people that when they finally do shut our Facebook down, what we're going to want you to do for us. Because I realize, it'll be so much more effective. It's one thing when everybody comes to one page and gets the information, and that's great and we love it. But imagine if they shut us down and we decide, you know what, we're going cyber war. And we have 20 people that I can once or twice or 3 or 4 or 5 times a week or however many times or often a week that I believe is necessary, or we believe is necessary here. We send you all an email with videos in it. And you download those videos, and we put the titles and the description and the videos that we want, or the pictures or whatever it is we want you to put on Facebook. And we tell people we'll be in contact with you, and we'll tell you we want you to upload this between these hours. So what will happen is, instead of people getting information from one source, simultaneously, over the course of a few hours, on a regular basis, it can be once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, however often we get stuff, we'll be having 20 different people putting up the same stuff in different places and spreading it throughout the cyber world at the same time on a regular basis, which will make us get our message out far better than what we're even doing now. And in other words, the objective is if the Europeans are seeing that we're being extremely effective in our ability to reach our people now through social media, and they want to prevent that, then there's no reason for us to let them do that, because now we know we have something that works. So instead, what we'll do is make their job much more difficult, and the way we will do that is simply by increasing the number of people who are putting the information out and the frequency of it going out. We may send out less amount of things, but we'll have more people sending them out and sharing them, which will get them out on a quicker basis and will make them draw more attention. So what we're doing is we're going to create a collective effort, and that way my job becomes easier anyway. I don't have to do as much. You brothers and sisters are already sharing the things that need to be shared. So we see that y'all are already doing the work. So what this allows us to do is to have a wider reach more people, and be more effective. And it will discourage them from shutting us down, because they'll make us more effective every time they shut us down, which will make them have to figure out another strategy and avenue to take. So that's one of the things we're going to do. So if you're interested, if you're one of the people who say, oh, I got the technology, I got a computer, I can always take videos, I can upload them, I know exactly how to do that, I can change format, I mean, it's nothing to me. If you're tech savvy and you're on Facebook and you're good with it and you got time and you like to do this kind of thing, then this is something you can do to add value to what we're doing. Send us an email at liberation@waronthehorizon.com. Don't send it to me on Facebook. I know that's the fastest way to do it, but sometimes I miss stuff that comes up on Facebook. We want to email. We don't miss nothing through the email. Liberation@waronthehorizon.com, and say, hey, look, I heard you were looking for people that are tech savvy to put up videos that you'll be sending out. And what we'll do is even though they haven't shut us down now, even before they shut us down, we'll start practicing. You know, I'll send out something maybe on a Thursday and say, look, tomorrow morning and Friday morning between 9 and 11, we want everybody to put this video out. And we're going to go test and see if all of those people put those videos out. And we're going to say share it with at least 50 or 49 of your friends. You know, you can't do more than 50. So 49 of your friends, and tell them to share it with people because it's serious. And then we'll see how fast we can spread information throughout Facebook. I mean, we're going to make this happen. We want 20 strong soldiers in the cyber world to get our message out there. And then, of course, every other brother and sister, when you see it out there, just keep sharing it and sharing it and sharing it so that we get a broad exposure for the ideas that we're doing, so that we say to them, hey, you can't shut us down and get our information out. Okay, so with that said, one more time, I just want to let people know very briefly, because we already announced it, but we have this weekend, Saturday, November 14th and 15th, at 5 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. We got 2 new lectures. On Saturday, it's Possessed at the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia. And on Sunday, we're doing Straight Black Pride, Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Families. We want you to come on out to the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia, and check it out. It's only $10. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. And both of these are brand new lectures, so come out, be part of history, brothers and sisters. With that said, I want to go into this discussion tonight. I'm going to play a video clip of 2. One is an individual that is looked upon well within the black, I guess you would say, if you want to call it black conscious community or whatever you would call it. And then an organization, an institution that traditionally has been viewed as probably the longest lasting and standing and strongest black nationalistic, black power, pro-black institution in our community. And I'm going to play these clips because it shows both of them promoting the homosexual agenda. So let me go ahead and start by playing this.
I hope I'm being clear with this because, look, brother, we're in 2014 right now. We're in a whole nother world. We are not in ancient Africa. Okay, so let's be real about this. If you have certain views that match with the way in which things you think happened in Africa, then I recommend you take the first flight back. Because in America, there's a whole new world out here. And it's not the strongest that survives. It is not the survival of the fittest.
Right.
Bottom line is that to survive are people who can adapt to the way in which the world is evolving. Because there is no place for people who cannot evolve into the world order.
See, may I say to my LGBTQ family, let me tell you something. Those of us who are students of Elijah Muhammad, we don't ask you what your sexual preference is. We love you. We're not your judges. We want to work together to free our people completely. So to my family, this is my family. Yes, sir. Yes. You'll never find me or us condemning you for what has become of us in our sojourn. Because all the holy ones who will point to a gay brother or sister are fornicators, adulterers, freaks, and everything else. So who of us can throw a stone at the next one? Well, none of us.
Now, I played that because, of course, the first individual is Booker T. Coleman, and I don't think he has a particular institution that he represents. But the second individual was, of course, Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. And I thought it was very important for us to have this program tonight because, it's time for us to really, really look at what it's really, to me, probably the worst thing that's happened in this homosexual war for our survival, and this black war against homosexuality in the last few months. And, you know, this thing is moving so fast, you know, each 6 months or so, you got a whole new dynamic that you have to face. And this is a very disturbing dynamic. If I'm reading it correctly, and let me just give you a little background information. Of course, I did the book in 2005, War on the Horizon, Black Resistance to the White Sex Assault. And I saw then the use of individuals like Naeem Akbar and many of the black psychologists who were homosexuals, how they were being used to try to mirror homosexuality and African-centeredness and make them look like they were the same thing. I saw them doing that psychologically and systematically and exposed that as early as 2005. I saw it earlier than that, but that's when we put it out there in the book for people to know what was going on. So it is not a new thing that there are those who are in the Black Nationalist or Pan African community posing as African-centered, but are actually Euro-centered in that they're participating in white sex misbehavior, homosexuality, pedophilia, whatever the case may be. But the as this war is intensifying, you know, we've seen the homosexuals being recruited into the movement, and then it was about a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago or a year ago or so, that we began to see Omali Yeshitela, I think it was 2013, of the Uhuru movement. You know, we used to hear people say Uhuru, you know, and we used to always look very favorably upon that. He was a brother, if you remember, Dead Prayers did the album where they had the brother talking about the wolf licking the blade, and the wolf and licking the blade, you know. And that's him that you hear on that album. And we all, you know, began endeared to the brother. We've heard a lot of the work that he's done back in St. Petersburg, Florida, with the police brutality in the 80s, out in the street, fighting on behalf of our people, their freedom. You know, the brother being historically, from what we understood, a warrior. You know, we thought very highly of the brother. But around 2013, if I'm not mistaken, when we saw him partner up with Cleo Monago, the one that they trying to make out to be the gay Malcolm X, calling him the gay Malcolm, who goes around waving the red, black, and green and speaking as if he's African-centered, but he's a flaming homosexual who received millions of dollars of contract money from the CDC, Centers of Disease Control, and where he's using that money to promote homosexuality in the black community, also being given audience to our children in high schools and various other places to promote this homosexual agenda. It starts to intensify because now what we were beginning to see is that there was no strong, organized effort on behalf of the Pan Afrikanist Black Nationalists to fight this agenda. So we started to see Uhuru do this. And then, of course, they brought in this Gazi Koko dude, known as Gazi Kozo, but of course we're not going to call anybody participating in white sex, open white sex offender by an African name, because that's slandering our own names. What do we have left but our names at this point? And so when we saw Yeshitela, Omali Yeshitela, chairman of Uhuru, partnering with Cleo Monago, we brought it to the attention of our community. But then once he put this Gazi Koko out there, he said, okay, all right, this guy's a caricature. So this is not the same as Cleo Monago. Cleo Monago is a somewhat sophisticated homosexual. I mean, he can't be too sophisticated laying down with men every night, but I mean, he can present himself as a professional, reasonable, serious individual. He you know, once you see through that, you can understand what you're dealing with, but he can present himself and pass himself off as that. Gazi Koko, I mean, looks like Chris Tucker on The Fifth Element. I mean, he's a complete caricature, a homosexual step and fetch it, if you will, of modern times. But he's been given a red, black, and green flag and given money and been put in position of power and influence to represent Pan Afrikanism. Now, if he was doing that for the LGBTQ, If he was representing the LGBT, it'd be fine. That's what he is. He is an LGBT, a disease-minded, formerly African-skinned individual with a complete European soul and spirit, complete sexually insane individual. Okay, well, he's not the only one out there, but the fact that he's been presented within this community to do that really makes Uhuru a laughing stock of blackness, and is really centered in Europeanism now that it's integrated with Europeans and open homosexuals. So it's no longer a legitimate organization, and they should not be using the red, black, and green flag because they do not stand for our interests. But of course, they're being funded well for this type of desecration of Pan Afrikanism and Black nationalism. So of course, it's paying off financially, even though it means the destruction of everything that we stand for and believe in. But now, what has happened more recently, and it's probably the most devastating of all, because the Uhuru, if you knew about it, you'll be hurt, but it wasn't a prominent organization nationally. It had places of prominence, and it was known nationally, but somewhat obscure or less well-known than some of the others. But more recently, I've been doing lectures around the world, actually. And I think the first instance of really seeing the intense disagreement, matter of fact, I should probably start with the Canada trip I took. I went to Canada. Was that before? No, actually, let's start with the Million Man March reunion. No, let's start when I was in August. When I was in maybe September. I think it was August when I was in New York at the UAM, United African Movement. And a brother stood up and was promoting the 10-10 March. And he asked, would I endorse or support the march? And a brother in the nation, real sharp brother, serious brother, good brother, well-intentioned. And it was a sister there as well in the nation. Very well-intentioned, good-spirited people, no question about it. They love their people. And my statement was that brothers had recently asked me to support that march, but that I had said I would not do it because I was not sure of what the Nation of Islam's position was going to be on the homosexual agenda. And I had brothers and the brother and sister were assuring me, even King Simon, who's in the Straight Black Pride movement, was assuring me that Minister Farrakhan's position was clearly against homosexuality and that there would be no promotion of that or endorsement of that lifestyle or death style at the march. And what I said to Brother Simon and the brother and sister from the nation is, I hear what you're saying. That is not sufficient to me. I would like to know what the Nation of Islam's official position is on homosexuality, because you're saying one thing, but the convener of the march or the organizer is Willie Wilson, and Willie Wilson is perfectly clear on being pro-homosexual and endorsing homosexuality in the black community. He makes no bones about that, and he's the one, the organizer of the march. He'll be speaking there, so I cannot agree with you, or I cannot accept your statements that the nation's position is that, when your position is one thing and the next person in the nation's position is something different. I said, so I would like to hear an official position before I would endorse it, because I'm not comfortable with the position it's going to be. I already knew what the position was going to be. I've been watching this thing very closely, so I was properly setting it up to be able to say I did not accuse anything. Everybody had an opportunity to make a decision. And so, as I predicted, we went to the Million Man March. I was not going to go, but the brother from Bermuda that invited us in and got this thing cracking, we got this war going. I said it would be disrespectful for him to come in all the way from Bermuda and me not provide him a home, a place to stay, and access to get to the march. And so we went. Some of the Straight Black Pride movement brothers came from New York. We went to the march, and just totally by happenstance, a sister came up trying to push that homosexual stuff. I think many of you seen it on YouTube or Facebook. And we began to engage. And I told the sister, no, sister, we don't agree with that. You shouldn't be holding that red, black, and green flag because it doesn't represent what Brother Garvey represented and that's disrespectful. You should carry the LGBT flag because that's what you represent when you endorse this misbehavior. And we went back and forth, and it was a very good dialogue, and people began to gather and listen, and it got very spirited because people were listening and saying, no, sister, that's not what we're about. We're about black upliftment, not that behavior. And she was basically realizing that she was being overwhelmed, and she was fighting, but some part of her wanted to be corrected. And so we were doing that correcting, and then all of a sudden we had noticed the brothers in the nation, who initially was only 3 of them, was like 10 or 15 of them now. And then finally a captain walked up and started breaking up the discussion. So y'all can't have this discussion out here. Now, we were not in the crowd anywhere near the march. I mean, we were on the street. We could still hear the march. The very big monitors and the sound system was phenomenal. But we were nowhere near where the speech was going. I mean, it wasn't even close. You couldn't to give you an idea how far we were, you could not throw a rock far enough to hit where the people were that were standing listening to the speech. So we were nowhere near, not close enough not within rock throwing distance of where the people were that were standing there listening to any of the jumbotrons or looking at the stages. We were nowhere near. So the brothers and sisters began to say, why would you tell us we can't stand around and gather and have a dialogue? Well, the minister's about to speak, and we came here for him, and the brother told him very specifically, wait a minute, brother. I didn't come here to hear the minister. I came here to meet with brothers and sisters of like mind. And we're having a conversation about doing something in our community that's an intellectual conversation that's important. And we're not even in the crowd. We're on the street. Why is it that you don't want us to have this conversation? And, I was saying a few things. I was getting a little frustrated, so I was watching my words carefully because you understand, there was 1,000 brothers out there. I ain't irritated Genie is feelings, but he's not stupid, And I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is very bizarre. So long story short, the brother was very upset. So when the nation left, me and the brother started talking, and the brother was angry. So the captain from the nation walked back up to the brother, grabbed the brother and said, come let me talk to you. Took the brother over to the side and talked to him about 5 or 10 minutes. The brother came back. I wasn't even looking. And he tapped me on the shoulder and said, brother, Genie, so, I've been watching your stuff. He said, this is about you. They don't want you out here. So I'm looking at him like, well, what's going on? And basically, the brother began to explain to me how the nation was basically telling them, hey, they didn't say this exactly, but this is what I gathered from what the brother told me. They had been warned that if Irritated Genie or the Straight Black Pride movement came out there and any audience gathered for people to discuss this homosexual agenda, to prevent it from happening, because they were instructed that homosexuals were invited and we were trying to join with the homosexuals and not make an issue out of that particular death style and that agenda. And so when they saw me, it was specifically instructions given to prevent that kind of dialogue, which I didn't engage in. I didn't begin. She came up and started pushing, and I'm going to say my piece. At any rate, I thought, okay, well, it was the march, Then we go on to hear, as we played the clip from Minister Farrakhan telling black people not to judge homosexuality and pretty much judging the rest of us, saying that we were fornicators and freaks and all that stuff, which may be true. Those of us that's criticizing, all that may be true, but that's a judgment that's being made. So basically he was saying don't judge homosexuals, but judge the people who say that homosexuality is not healthy for our community, which is another discussion in and of itself. But basically it was a full endorsement of homosexuality. They had a homosexual giving libations, wearing African clothing, with an African name, Aquivina, Rainy Cheeks. This is a open homosexual preacher. He's openly homosexual. And they chose him to do the libation. No nationalists, or maybe one or two, but no nationalists of mention in comparison to having the homosexual do the libations for the Pan African community. And it was a march that endorsed homosexuality. It is what it is. He used his time to not say anything about destroying the homosexual agenda or fighting against it or fighting against the homosexuality and pedophilia. None of it. That was not mentioned. It was only mentioned not to criticize them and that they were accepted. So the message was clear. The Nation of Islam is now taking the position to endorse the homosexual agenda. It is what it is. And I knew that. But I wasn't gonna make a big deal out of it because that's their organization. Because they do that, it's not our object. It's not our object to fight with them per se to do the right thing. We're fighting for our agenda, which is black man and woman and child and black family. Their new agenda is no longer that. Their new agenda is to promote the homosexual agenda, the Nation of Islam. I can't tell them what to do with their organization, and they have every right to do that. I think it's wrong, and I have a right to criticize it because it's wrong. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's how far I thought it extended. But when I went to Canada, and we did the lecture, and I showed the clips, and at the end, we showed the part with myself and Umar Johnson outside, talking about the homosexual agenda, and it also showed the part where the sister, me and the sister were having dialogue, and the nation came and broke it up. So a brother in the crowd, I was trying to wrap the lecture up, he said, brother, why did the Nation of Islam, break you up from having that dialogue? And I said, oh, boy, do I really want to answer this? And I said, well, I mean, it's a legitimate question. I said, well, many of our organizations are now changing their position or taking a position in favor of dialogue and accepting the homosexual platform. And unfortunately, the Nation of Islam appears to be doing the same thing. I mean, they did the same thing. And before I could finish, a brother from the Nation of Islam who was sitting in there began to just say, oh, no, that's not what's happening. It became very loud. And he began to say, that's not what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, wait a minute, brother. That's what was said at the march. The minister said we cannot judge homosexuals. And that is essentially from that platform with 1 million black people there and how many million more watching, that is an endorsement of the platform. No, I said, well, you are endorsing the platform now by defending that decision. I mean, do you share that decision or not? I don't agree with homosexuality. Okay, well, if you don't agree with homosexuality, you can't agree with someone saying that we shouldn't make the judgment that it's wrong. Either you endorse it or you don't. We're not trying to split hairs. No, but we got to love all our people. And it's like, well, if you believe that, and that includes you saying to inviting homosexuals into our space, then you're supporting the homosexual agenda because they want to be in our space. I mean, which one? And so it got very, very, very heated. But, I called the dogs off because I knew he was a good brother. At least I thought he was. And, I called the brothers off and said, no, we don't want to get into a contentious situation. I said, but brother, you got to calm down and show respect. And he was yelling and screaming and started trying to answer people's questions and all this kind of stuff. And I had to say, listen, you're a prisoner to your own loyalty. I understand that. And it's not your fault. You don't want to support the homosexual agenda, yet that's the direction that your organization is headed. So you want to defend the organization. But in order to do that, you got to support the homosexual agenda. So you're in a quagmire, and I respect that. It's a terrible situation to be in, better you than me. But you can't disrespect where we are today. So he finally piped down. We shook hands. It was cool. He came back to the lecture the next day. No such incident. We were doing Mind Your Black Business. People loved it the next day. Wonderful event. And then he said something to me that was very interesting when we went outside. Because we hadn't talked that day. I saw him, shook his hand, glad he was back. And he said, yeah, brother, so you traveling around the world and everything? I said, yeah. He said, you traveling around the country, huh? I said, yeah. He said, yeah. So whenever you travel, I guess you just travel alone, huh? And of course, I had 4 or 5 brothers standing around. And I saw them get very upset, but I kind of was like, be cool. I don't think he recognized, because he didn't know that they were with me. But they all heard it. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's always somebody around, brother. And so we kind of left. But of course, the brothers that was with me took it as a veiled insult, a veiled threat. Didn't really like that, because since when do you walk up to a speaker who travels internationally and start asking them, do they travel by themselves? And it doesn't even make any sense unless you're doing a subtle threat. And I heard it loud and clear, and I kept everybody cool about it. Don't worry about it, But it didn't sit right with me, because I was like, wow. So I didn't say anything to anybody. I definitely didn't mention that to any brothers and sisters here. Nobody here on the radio heard that. But after this weekend, I said, you know what? I'm not even going to play the game. I got to call it for what it is, because, I went down to Houston, and we had a forum. We had an all-star lineup of brothers and sisters on the forum from all over the country on the first night in Houston on Friday. And had some brothers and sisters from the Nation of Islam on the forum. As a matter of fact, I had one brother, the Southwest Regional Minister for the Nation of Islam. Very good dialogue we had before the we had a round table discussion on Friday night, and then the lecture on Saturday night. And on the Friday night, you know, we out in the foyer getting ready to go in to do the round table discussion with the esteemed group of panelists. I heard the minister, the regional minister, talking about how he was talking to another brother, how we need to invite the LGBT, sit down at the table and all work together. And of course, I'm thinking to myself, because the brother was talking about how many of my videos he watched, how much he loves the Genie, and I'm thinking to myself, well, anybody who loves the Irritated Genie knows that you can't be pro-homosexual and also in favor of Irritated Genie. I mean, the two just diametrically opposed. You can't be in favor of dating outside the race. You can't say I agree with whites dating black men dating white females and then say I love the Irritated Genie. It's like, nah, you don't love the Irritated Genie, because the foundational thing I stand on, straight black pride. I mean, you don't love the Irritated Genie. You stand for the complete opposite of what the Irritated Genie stands for. So I heard it, but I said, he ain't talking to me, so I ain't going to say nothing, you know, because the last thing in the world I want to do is to get into a debate before we go in, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to go in and have a good dialogue or whatever the case may be. So I made up my mind. I said, you know what? I'm not going to bring up the homosexual thing when I get in there. I'm not going to bring that up because I don't want this to turn into a debate about what the best policy is. If the Nation of Islam has decided that it wants to work with the homosexuals, they have that right, and I respect that right. I don't agree with it at all, but it's not my organization to agree or disagree with what they do. So, I mean, who am I to tell them how to do what they want to do? That's fine. So we go in, long story short, even I guess I'm making a long story long and nothing but short about the story. But we go in, we do the lecture. I mean, we do the round table. We sit down. We're talking, and each person introduces themselves, says their piece, and the question was, what do we, you know, who are you, and what do you believe? What does black family mean to you? So it was about 10 panelists. So all 10 of the people said, hey, this is who I am, and this is what black family means to me. And people kind of went over. Everybody did about 10 minutes talking about also what they're doing in their community. We had a brother, OG1, who actually is the brother who created the Scared Straight, the original one, not this gay one they got now, but saying, hey, you know, because he was an ex-convict and got out and said, hey, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to save as many brothers and sisters as I can. And he began the Scared Straight program, the whole idea of it, showing them what prison life is like and encouraging them not to go that direction. And so we had a group of esteemed people. We had Brother Louis Ali from the South, the Hot Black Coffee Party. We had the Southwest Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam, Brother Robert Muhammad. We had a lot of brothers and sisters on the panel who were psychologists, social workers, just a great different group of people, all doing great things in the black community. And the sister that put it together is a hard worker in the black community. So, I mean, it was just a phenomenal setting. And everybody said their piece, and I made sure when I said mine that I didn't go deep into the homosexual thing because I did not want that kind of energy because we were all vibing pretty well. And Brother Louis Ali, I mean, really, I got to be honest, he actually set the panel off in the beginning. I mean, I don't even remember what he said. Whatever he said, he almost got a standing applause. Everybody else, you know, people heard what they said and shook their head. When he finished, whole crowd was clapping and everything. Even me, I was like trying not to clap because I was going to be last. And I was like, I'm glad they didn't put me behind that because I couldn't have come behind that. But at any rate, everybody said their piece and it was good. But it went on so long, it was almost halftime. So they said, you know, it's time to go to a break. Let's go ahead and go to a break. And then it was very interesting. The brother, Robert Muhammad, wasn't able to stay for the conclusion of the lecture. And so he let everybody know, I'm not going to be able to stay. I got another engagement. I got to drive to, so I want to be, fresh for the morning. Everybody understood and appreciated the fact that he came out and supported as much as he did. But then he did something I thought was very interesting. Because, again, remember, the question was, what do you believe in black family? You know, what does black family mean to you? And everybody had answered that, including him. But then the next thing that came up was the second half is going to be about solutions. What are practical solutions to the problems facing black people? And we're going to talk about some of the problems, education, this, and what are some practical solutions. So he said, well, I want to, before I leave, I would like to address some of the solutions that I think, would be solutions. So, okay, well, I think that's good. The brother's not going to be here for the second part. He should tell us some solutions he thinks to some of the problems that we have, and get his word in. And he began to talk, and then, I almost fell out of my seat. He said, and what we need to do is invite the LGBT into the room, and because, we shouldn't be concerned because the police don't like us because we black. They don't care if you're LGBT or not. So we need to sit down and figure out what direction we're going to go. And I was like, I felt like I was in a Twilight Zone. I said, I know that, because remember, I'm the special guest. And the panel that is there, yes, it's a group panel, but they're being brought around the special guest, the Irritated Genie of Southeast. And so here we have the Nation of Islam representative coming to what pretty much amounts as a Pan African Black Nationalist Irritated Genie event, stating his political position that we should work with and join with the homosexual movement. And I was shocked, man. And I was beaming with, literally fumes coming off my head, because I'm going, okay, you have a right to do that on your forums. But we've invited people. I'm doing a lecture tomorrow about black family where I'm going to talk about the feminization of the black male and the homosexual agenda. I don't want to have people confused. If that's your position, do that from the Nation of Islam platform. But that's not even a question that's on the table right now. That ain't even nothing we're discussing. So to proactively put your political position that the Pan-African Black Nationalist community should work with and support the homosexual agenda, I thought it was classless. I don't know, let me not say it. I thought it was inappropriate. I didn't think it was tasteful. Let me say it that way. It wasn't tasteful. Because if that's your agenda, then you should state that affirmatively in your own space. And if you're going to state something like that on a platform where a person, you already know what their platform is, and it's their platform, and that's my platform, Straight Black Pride. We're against the homosexual agenda. We're for black men and women coming together building families. Then if you're going to say that, you got to stay and take the heat. You got to stay into the heat. You jump into the pressure cooker, you got to stay. So I was taken aback by that. I didn't think that was the best way to handle that. And, of course, I was actually going to address him right then. I was like, you're not going nowhere. I'm not the type of person, I don't like the scared sucker duck type tactics. Somebody says something, you don't agree with it, you wait till they leave, then you start talking trash. I'm like, well, look, you right there. I'm not going to be the sucker and wait till you leave and then start talking trash about you. So I had a few people on the panel hitting me saying, no, don't address it right now, brother. I'm like, nah, this is when I address it. So I was going to address it. And then an elder that was in the audience just like jumped up and kind of had some things to say, very spirited. And so my spirit told me, okay, maybe that's the ancestor saying, don't address him right now. See, because I'm going to address him right now. But I said, okay, I'll listen to the ancestors. I'm going to take that as a sign from the ancestors. But I'm going to address it. But I'll wait till after break, no problem. So we went to the break, came back from the break. Somebody was answering a question, and I said, look, I got to speak to this. And I specifically and definitively stated, for the record, I wish the brother was here so he could hear it from me, but he's not, But I'm going to say it anyway. The brother gave the wrong instructions to the black community. He said we should not be, as Africans or black people, interested in the future of our people, be talking about joining with the homosexuals or inviting them in. To invite the homosexual agenda in, or homosexuals, the LGBT, we might as well invite the pedophiles, the murderers, and everybody else to the table and say that what they're doing is legitimate. It's the wrong move at the wrong time, under the wrong circumstances. We should be doing the exact opposite. We should be protecting our children from this agenda, and we should be doing more to create healthy families. There are too many black women out there without husbands for us to be talking about supporting an agenda that will make them have less opportunity to have husbands. Too many brothers looking for a sister who's healthy and in her right mind to be supporting sexual behavior that will create more sick sisters that won't be believing that the right partner is a black man and won't be supportive for black men. So I I was very, 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 very unhappy. I did not think it was appropriate. And it certainly wasn't appropriate on the forum that I'm doing. Do that on your own forum. At any rate, after I stated what I stated, people from the Nation of Islam in the crowd began to stand up and be very forceful. I had one sister. So what are you saying? We just supposed to not invite the homosexuals, but we supposed to invite the dope dealers, and we supposed to invite the adulterers and all this kind of stuff. And I started thinking back to what was said at the Million Man March. I said, okay, that's the same language that the nation is using now. So, okay, this is their platform. And I said to her, that's an excellent question, sister. I said, sister, if the dope dealers create an organization called DOPE, D-O-P-E, we sell dope, and start marching around saying we have a right as dope dealers to sell dope to black folks, yes, we're going to say they can't be invited. I said, now if the dope dealer comes in quietly and humble and listens to the message, then we may say, hey, look, brother, we know what you're doing. You got to stop. We understand it's rough, but you got to convert what you're doing and come to the right side and find another way to make a living, because this is doing harm to our community. And if they're agreeable to do that, we're not saying that a person is going to be held to the standard of what they did as opposed to the conversion that they've made. But if they stand around saying we smoke dope, we sell dope, no, we're not going to invite them in. In fact, we're going to say, hey, you might want to stop waving that because dope is bad for our people. And so she and her husband continue to just come and be. And I said, wow. When it really dawned on me, I said, we're in a tragic situation, because the organization, see, it's one thing if the nation is promoting homosexual agenda on their own platforms, and we're on a different platforms. To some degree, I have to mention that it's happening because it's our battlefield, but I can avoid it because it's like, well, I only have to mention it when it comes up, but I don't have to continuously do it. And it doesn't have to become a basis for contention and hostility, because I say we don't agree with it, and then we keep doing and going our direction. However, when they make it their platform and place to come to Pan African, Black Nationalist, Haitianist events and push the homosexual platform, what they are now doing is they are, instead of the homosexuals and the pedophiles coming out and fighting for themselves, they are allowing themselves to act as the battering ram for the homosexual movement, thus creating a heterosexual conflict between Pan Afrikanists, Black Nationalists, straight Black pride folks, and the Nation of Islam, where the conflict is that we do not want homosexuality in our community, and the Nation of Islam says we should have homosexuality. So now the Nation of Islam is taking the torch of the homosexual agenda and waging war against the Pan-African community. Even though I would say probably 90% of the people in the Nation of Islam will probably be 100% against homosexuality. However, they've been given marching orders to be the battering ram for an agenda which is genocidal to black people, which means brothers and sisters that we respect and otherwise honor, we have to have conflict with, because they want to fight for the fags. Matter of fact, they are the defense attorneys for homosexuality and sexual degeneracy for the absentee homos. So the homosexuals don't even have to show up. The small hats don't have to show up. The pedophiles don't have to show up. They can, by proxy, send the Nation of Islam to create conflict in the Black Pan-African community, in the Black Nationalist community, because the Nation of Islam wants to promote homosexuality where in an environment that's not conducive to that. I mean, they're creating conflict, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, are they trying to Malcolm X me? I mean, are you seriously, you already know our platform is anti-homosexual. So you already know and can predict that if you come to our straight Black pride events or any event where I'm the speaker and start promoting the homosexual agenda, then I'm going to speak against it. And then you're going to use that to get the brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam who agree with me. I mean, I got to, look, I'm going to keep it real. if I was to be honest with y'all, I got as many supporters quietly in the Nation of Islam as I do any other. There's no organization that I have more supporters from. Matter of fact, the Nation of Islam, in terms of numbers, in terms of people who support what we're doing and agree with it, we got more people in the Nation of Islam that agree with us and support us than any other organization, single organization. I mean, I get so much love quietly, man. They can't say it publicly, but from brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam say, we love what you're doing, brother. Don't stop. They can't say we support what you're saying about the minister because they don't. I mean, they love their leader, and I respect that. But an institution where the people don't agree with the behavior is being forced to defend it and confront and create conflict with us because we're unapologetically against homosexuality. And they know, because this happened with, like, the Minister Farrakhan talks about how, you know, his work created a hostile climate that helped to kill Brother Malcolm X. Well, if you know that, then this can't be being done on accident, because you already know our position on homosexuality. Everybody knows our position. It ain't like we coming up now to try to have a conflict with our position. Look, my position been clear since 1997. First time I spoke on it. Anybody that knows Irritated say his position, he ain't never been no pro-fag dude. Ain't never been pro-interracial dating, miscegenation. You ain't never heard me talk that stuff. But as a political platform, the Straight Black Pride movement is an entire international platform that clearly and definitively now has an international presence and specifically is against the homosexuals. And our chief adversaries are the LGBT international community. And now, instead of us having a good fight with them and showing you how to knock a fag out, I'm a fag slayer. Before I get to them, I have to deal with contentiousness and conflict that's being created by the Nation of Islam coming to every event that I do, pushing homosexual agenda and defending the pushing of the homosexual agenda. So I got to ask the question, brothers and sisters, and I want y'all honest answer. Am I being emotional? Or is there an intentional effort on behalf of the Nation of Islam to undermine all efforts to fight against the homosexual agenda? And are they trying to create a hostile environment? Because you have to understand, when the brother asked me, do I travel alone? The brothers I was with, you know they were angry. You can imagine where that could have went. I made sure it didn't go that way. And that's why I didn't even say anything to the brothers and sisters. But I'm saying, that's not real cool. You can say that to people that's like scared dudes that's lonely by themselves, stuff like that. But when you start talking to brothers right out of prison or brothers that, you know, like have done things and stuff like that, it makes them nervous because it's like, yo, this dude is threatening me. And if he's threatening you, he's threatening me. And it's like brothers don't like to be threatened like that. So these type of threats are creating a situation where instead of the Irritated Genie and the Straight Black Pride movement and Warren Horizon and all of the brothers and sisters that agree with what we're doing, confronting the homosexual community, hostility is being created between our movement and the Nation of Islam, by the Nation of Islam, that could lead to hostilities that would then have black folks fighting internally on an issue about homosexuality that both parties are supposed to be against. I saw this. See, the reason I'm bringing it up because I saw this same thing that happened with Willie Wilson's church. Willie Wilson at one time was a strong, he was a Christian, but a strong Black nationalist preacher. Black nationalists used to go to his church, not for the church, but for his nationalism. Then he started pushing his homosexual agenda. I was in PKV at the time. We went there to an event that was open to the public where they start promoting this homosexual thing. And a brother stood up from our organization, our leader, to speak. And the deepest thing happened. You had a stage full of homosexuals and promosexuals promoting homosexuality. Then you had the straight security. They weren't with the homosexuality. We know the brothers. But they straight, and they security for the church. They real brothers from the street. These brothers actually, when our brother started speaking, came off the stage to take the microphone and attack our brother. We wasn't having that. Next thing you know, you have two groups of straight brothers mixed up in a fight, in a battle, in the church, fighting each other. None of them like fags, but they fighting each other because Reverend Willie Wilson wants to push a fag agenda. And we saw the brothers later. We was like, what's going on? Y'all, and we ain't like what happened in the church. We was like, well, wait a minute, brother. So y'all saying y'all cool with this homosexuality thing? And they just put their heads down. They wanted to fight, but they couldn't even bring themselves to fight with us because they was like, they knew we was right. It's like we didn't come there to start a fight. We thought it was going to be a discussion. Since it was an open forum, we was going to state our position. But you mean to tell me that the people that are against homosexuality don't have the right to say the position, but those that are pushing sodomy on our children do have a right? And you're going to defend that? And the brothers had to walk away, feeling shameful. And it's like, what heterosexual brother wants to fight another heterosexual brother over a faggot? Or over the promotion of fagdom in our community? Nobody wants to do that. It feels gay. It's like, if you ain't gay, I shouldn't be fighting you over gay stuff. If I'm fighting homosexuality, I should be fighting fags and crackers and I should be fighting varmint. I should be fighting the varmint of the planet if I'm fighting the fag agenda. Why am I fighting bow tie? Why am I fighting bow ties? The bow tie is supposed to be on my side. There's nothing in the history of nothing I've ever seen or heard from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that gave any potential of a possibility of a speck of room for acceptance of homosexuality. Now, I know people have their criticisms of most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and some of them are legitimate. Y'all know I love Elijah Muhammad. No matter all your criticism in the world, I love him. I mean, he's just one of my favorites. It is what it is. And I'm not going to go no other different direction. So I even get offended seeing people in the nation take positions that I didn't believe would be Elijah Muhammad, but it ain't my organization. But it does hurt. But God knows I don't want to fight nobody from it. It's not fear. It really is not fear. It's not wisdom. I don't want no conflict with no Nation of Islam over no facts. But now that the Nation of Islam has taken that platform, we're going to have conflict. I would prefer the conflict be, I'm going to state that y'all taking the wrong position. Y'all know y'all taking the wrong position. Y'all should quietly be happy I'm saying it. You know, guys, no, the brother Genie, he's wrong about this one, but we respect the work he's doing, but the brother just needs, he's a young brother. Just get a black pass. Y'all know how to do it. Y'all nation, man. Come on, brothers and sisters. Y'all know what this is. Get a black pass. Well, yeah, Genie sometimes says things that we don't agree with, but the brother, he's trying to do the right thing. He just needs, to get a little bit of wisdom. But we gonna pray for the brother that he gets that in time and everything. I don't come disrespectful or nothing. So I ain't gonna give you. I'm gonna give you enough room to throw the pass, and just keep it moving. But don't come with the goon stuff, because it's not. Again, I'm not begging. I mean, it is what it is. Whatever got to happen, got to happen. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? This is what I got in this for. But it just feels wrong. I don't want conflict with the people that are supposed to be fighting the same battle I'm fighting. Like, I don't want to fight with the UNIA. It ain't that I'm scared of people in the UNIA, but it's Garvey's organization. It feels weird. I don't want to fight with you. If we have a disagreement or something, let it be minor, but I want to always show respect to the UNIA because it was the foundation. I don't want to fight with them. I mean, how do you fight with the UNIA? How do you pick a fight with the UNIA? You may have a disagreement with them on something and argue over a position, but I don't want to physically fight with nobody in the UNIA. It just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense, I don't want to fight with no new Black Panther Party or the old Black Panthers. I don't want to fight with them. It's not that I don't disagree with some positions or something. We'll disagree on stuff, but these are Black Panthers, man. They was out there with guns fighting crackers and police officers for us. I don't want to fight with no Black Panthers. I'm not doing it. If I can avoid it, I mean, it's not fear, but how do you can't grow up revering people and then want to fight them. It don't work that way. Even if you disagree with this they take. This is a very ugly thing because, and I'm going to say this last, then I'm going to go to the phone line. It's a very dangerous situation because, I'll be honest with you, in preparing this battle, I prepared to fight this battle and deal with the varmint. No place in this homosexual war for our survival have I calculated in fighting an institution like the Nation of Islam. It's part of the calculation that you don't want to really calculate, because we're supposed to be on the same side. And again, it's not in my power to tell the nation what to do or what not to do. You got to do whatever you're going to do. But it's not supposed to be part of the equation. You're supposed to be marching head fast into black progress and remaining the example of discipline and law for our community, so that there's a standard by which we can measure discipline and law and militancy and manhood and womanhood and character, so that we can adjust and lift ourselves in accordance to that standard and either improve on the standard or work towards the standard. And then there's never a real reason for real conflict, because even where we don't agree, we're not going to agree on Islam, but it don't matter. You still black, you still straight black, and you still proud. And you still got a standard. You can no longer be the standard if you're promoting homosexuality. That means two men sodomizing each other, two women sodomizing and licking on each other. You're no longer a standard of anything. You can't have it both ways. You can't double talk this one. You got to pick. I mean, everybody has to pick a side on this issue. This ain't a middle issue. That's the problem now, with too many of us in the middle. You got to be definitive on whether the black man is supposed to be with the black woman or not. If the black man is supposed to be with the black woman, the black man is God and the black woman is goddess, then they're only two made for each other. Anything else that you support is in complete contradiction to the law of producing blackness. Black on black makes more black. Black with anything else dilutes the blackness and makes something less black. And we don't want less black, we want more black. I mean, that's an easy one. Everybody can calculate that. Talking about the math, do the math. Black plus black equal more black. Black plus white slices the black in half. Black plus Hispanic, slice it. Maybe not in half, but it's just not black as it was. We want black with black. Not black with Asiatic, not black with black with black. And God forbid, man with woman, with man, or man with boy, or man with little girl. This is something that is pretty simple. And I fully expect the brothers and sisters, I know that there are brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam that's listening. I expect you to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, we have to go back and assess this. Is this brother trying to undermine what we're doing? Is he no, you're going to look at it and say, no. He's saying that the black man is supposed to be with the black woman. You're going to look at all the lessons and everything like that and say, is there anything inconsistent with what he's saying and what we're supposed to be believing in? The answer's going to be no. Well, if the answer is no, then you can't have but so much of an issue with what I'm saying. You're going to have to question, why is this conflict exist, and why are the nation coming to Black Pan African Nationalist forums promoting the homosexual agenda? I don't want no double talk. I don't want no fancy talk and excuses and explanations of that's not what was said, brother, you misunderstand. I don't misunderstand nothing. When we're talking about homosexuality and you're inviting LGBT to anything, you're either inviting them in or you're not. You're inviting them in. You're saying it, not me. So if you want to bring clarity to it, then go back to the drawing board, go back in the house and say, listen, we don't want nobody to have a moral position of rightness above us. As a nation, we've always been the moral position of rightness. We want to be able to say we are not supporting this filthy homosexual behavior. And we can't say that by double talking. We have to say it directly. You also got to go back and say, listen, we don't want to create a climate. People are still talking about Brother Malcolm. People are still angry about Brother Khaled. We don't want another Black nationalist, Pan-African, to find themselves in conflict with the nation so that the enemy can draw us into fighting one another and painting the nation as an institution that's anti-Black progress. We don't need that. Y'all got to go back in. Y'all got to look at this thing. You got to go back in the house, and you got to say, we got to get this one right. We got to be on the right side of history on this one. I'm talking to all my brothers and sisters in the mosque. You got to go back in the house. You got to sit down and say, on the balance of my eye, is this righteousness? Ask the question, what would Elijah Muhammad say if he heard the irritated Genie say, we should all be firm in the fact that the black man's only right choice for a mate is the black woman, and that we are supposed to be men who protect our women and children. Now, I'm going to give you a hint on this one. I watched the video that they made where the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking, and that's where I got the statement that I make on a regular basis, where the brothers in the FOI was standing up on the balcony with the big banner that said, we must protect our women and children. That's where I got it from. Go check the sources. So it's an unfair thing that I'm doing because I'm giving you the answer, so it's the easy one. Is the irritated Genie wrong when he's saying that? No. Then you don't have no way to come on no forum that we're doing. No legitimacy, and state a position that we should be working with no fags. There's no righteousness in that whatsoever. If on your own forum you want to say we love all our brothers and sisters, including the ones that sodomizing each other and raping our children, we love them, but we don't agree with the behavior, you can say that there. I'm just asking you, don't come in our space and time. I'm not going to the mosque saying this is a ridiculous stuff, we need to be fighting back. You do what you want in your mosque. But when I'm traveling around, don't come to our space. Our space is a sword for fags. This ain't mean, yeah, we talk to righteousness, but at the end of the day, I'm on the dark side of the force. I want it to end. No more pedophilia. No more of this madness. I didn't come here to make no friends or be nobody's buddy or partner. I want to sort this thing out, which means ain't no space, even as much as I love you, ain't no space for you coming in there promoting the homosexual agenda with no fancy words. Those fancy words may work with others. Those fancy words don't work with me. It's real cut and dry. It's black and it's white. You either for the fags or you against it. If you're against it, there's a million different ways to say you're against it, but first thing you got to say is, I'm against homosexuality. It's wrong. Our people shouldn't be involved in it. And we don't stand for that. And y'all have not done that. You've done the exact opposite. You stood up in front of the world with a million people there and a million more watching, saying we shouldn't make a judgment that this is wrong. That's wrong. Everybody's allowed an error. Y'all made a big error. It's a glaringly big error, but it's a big error. Y'all can correct it, though. You have every right to correct it. Ain't nobody perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. I've had to apologize. Y'all seen it. It ain't feel good when I've been apologizing for mistakes I've made, but I've done it. Y'all got to do the same thing on this one. You ain't got to give me no apology. You just got to clean up your position so that we can continue to look at you with respect. And don't come back on no more of my forums with none of that pro-fag stuff. It's disrespectful. If you want to love fags, do it on your own time. So let me go to the phone line. And just so people know, you say, Dad, you playing on this? No, I did not. It just came out. Totally not playing. It is what it is, bro. So just the ancestors telling me stop. I don't fight like nobody. I fight the way I fight. That's how I fight. So I'm gonna tell it the way it is. If I give you nothing else, you'll always be able to say the Genie gave us the truth, real time, the way he saw it, with the benefit. That's what you gonna say. If he gave us nothing else, Irritated Genie gave us the truth, the best that he knew it. He was honest with us. He wasn't no coward. He didn't bite his tongue. He didn't start stuff that didn't need to be started, but he worked to finish stuff that needed to be finished. And if we were wrong, he told us we was wrong. He didn't smile at us and try to be friendly with us. He wasn't trying to be our friends. He was trying to keep us righteous. Everybody. If I don't get nothing else, I at least want to have that. So you know how we do it here. No N-words. And more than ever, I ain't making no exceptions today. There's ever been a time ain't no exception. When you come in here, it's praise Nat Turner, glory to God, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. If it's your first time calling in, don't butcher it. Just tell me it's my first time. Can you walk me through it, brother? I'll walk you through it nice and politely. But don't butcher it on me today. I ain't in a good mood. I don't like nobody coming on my forums. Don't stand on my stage. You know, I ain't got no problem letting you shine on yours, but I shine. I'm one of them stars. I ain't no shooting star. My mama told me it's 3 stars: a shooting star, a rising star, and a shining star. Only 2 of them I'm interested in, and 2 of them I do. I rise and I shine. Don't come when I'm shining with that dull star stuff. Don't work, buddy. 78:15. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
This is my first time on your forum, at least speaking on the phone. I've listened to you on the radio. So if you can walk me through it, of course, I love Nat Turner.
All right, my sister, I appreciate
so
that.
So praise Nat Turner.
Praise Nat Turner.
And the Honorable Marcus Garvey.
Glory to God.
And also,
it's praise Nat Turner.
So praise Nat Turner.
Glory
to the Honorable.
Go ahead.
Glory to the Honorable Marcus Garvey, and long live the spirit of Khalid Abdul Muhammad, whom I knew personally.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But tonight, brother, what I wanted to speak on, my name is Sage Starkeeper, and I wanted to say 2 things briefly. First, I am a cultural healer and an author, and I've written about a situation in Kentucky in which there was hundreds of African American children that were in a pedophilia fetum, and that it was supported by the government. And if you look on my Facebook page, also as a healer, we look into the demonic possessions. So I know you mentioned that you were going to speak on that this weekend, so I wanted to call in and mention that. Definitely how we deliver people from the homosexual demonic possession, and it is real. The second thing I briefly wanted to say was we had an election here in Kentucky, and you may have heard of the Kim Davis affair in which the Rowan County clerk did not want to sign the marriage license of same-sex couples. Yes. And we had an election here last week in which people have shocked the nation, in which the Tea Party candidate won. And people, he won by, over 80,000 votes, 9 percentage points, in which the polls said that, no, he was losing. But people came out because they were against the same-sex marriage. Unfortunately, we as black people here, our black leaders, our black politicians all support the same-sex marriage agenda. And now it has forced black people to join with the Tea Party and push a Tea Party candidate into the governor's house, who hopefully will make some changes through executive order. I just wanted to say that. And again, my name is Sage Starkeeper, Straight Black Pride. Go look at my Facebook page. It talks about the demonic possessions that causes homosexuality. It is, as a counselor, as a PhD, this is not a natural situation. It is not something that people are born with, being homosexual. That is definitely wrong. And then, as I want to just conclude, our black leaders have let us down, and now we have been forced, like in Kentucky, to join with the Tea Party wing to combat this. And it's unfortunate that our black organizations have let us down. Thanks, brother. Hotep.
Hotep, my sister. I really appreciate, because see what this sister said, really honestly, she really, that's a nail in the coffin of it. Because what I'm taking from what she's saying is, the Nation of Islam, the UNIA, all the other, the RNA, the Republic of New Africa, all the groups around the New Black Panther Party, all of the organizations, One Horizon, Straight Black Pride Movement, all these people are supposed to be taking the lead and taking our people in the right direction. But we are so far behind on the right thing. If you minus Straight Black Pride and One Horizon from the equation, and to include CoburnHouse.com, and Baba Rudy, and the great work that they're doing down in Atlanta. We really don't have that black representation. That we have it that exists, but we don't have the ones fighting this agenda. They've capitulated. And to the sister's point, it's so bad now that our people will actually, and I gotta say this, it's gonna sound horrible, and y'all gonna have to forgive me for this, but I didn't make this reality. I think it is a good move in regions like Kentucky for black people to strategically align with the Tea Party, even though they hate us and want to kill us ultimately. It's better to align with them strategically for a moment just to fight this homosexual agenda than to not do so. So those that are responsible for the black community and in our well-being, instead of protecting the interests of our community, are putting our people in a position where, rightfully so, our brothers and sisters are going out and working with the devil himself in order to make decisions on behalf of our people. So I thank my sister Sage Starkeeper for bringing it up, because that's real-time, real information that says we literally going to have to abandon what we would otherwise have as a black united front, and on some strategic level, we got to start working with the devils who got, here's a devil whose nature it is to be a white sex offender. He the white in the white sex. And we're going to have to side with a hook-nosed racist Klansman in order to get something accomplished to push this thing back, because we can't side with the crooked, halfway switching the Pan African, too much Pan in your nationalist. Come on, man. This is not good. 8714. Praise Nat. Long live the spirit of Dr. Colin. Please turn on your radio. 8714. Going once. Going twice. All right. Let me go to 4326. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 4326. Going once. Going twice. All right. 7823. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 7823. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, brother.
Praise Nat. Lord Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. What's going on, brother? Your brother now was born again.
Yes, sir. How you doing, my brother?
So just like you, brother. Just to hear that. Hear all that data that comes through, and respect to the queen who spoke, the star sister, what is her name? Sister Sage, the Star Sage?
Right, Sage Starkeeper, yes, sir.
Sage Starkeeper, respect to her. The word that kept reigning supreme while you were speaking, brother, was compromise. You know what I mean? When an organization has been infiltrated, they use the word compromise. Military strategists say, hey, the operation has been compromised. So if you look at, for a word, from my perspective, to describe as compromise. Now, compromise is when two parties come together and they yield some kind of way to one another in the best, what they deem is the best interest. And this is the worst interest. Compromise on black liberation. If we are compromising with a complete black family and a black agenda, what else is there? That's our foundation. You understand what I'm saying? So if we would compromise for funding, right? Or we would compromise for political interest or some sort of capital gain, then now it becomes the issue of what kind of leadership do you have, what true leadership that you have. So to confuse that up top versus the totality of the whole organization, you always have the laborers that are on the ground that's best intentioned. But they have to come to grips that their leadership or their organization has been compromised. All these great organizations that we had of our glory day, even back to Garvey's time, even back to Nat Turner's insurrection, the operations was compromised by somebody either out of fear or reward. It's one or another. It's either fear of loss of life or some type of reward, meaning they was paid off. So we get into this all the way from that Turner's time all the way to our time, real time. And for them to have them type of instructions for you to come there, meaning that they had already compromised before you even got to the place. I'm speaking about you and the reference that you made to being there and the instructions that was given to the laborers. That's a travesty. It's a destruction. You know what I mean? So now that the top leadership has been compromised, you have to look and say, okay, what's more important? This compromise or African liberation or black liberation, and nothing is higher or greater than black liberation and the restoration of the black family. So either they can get back right in the legacy and spirit of which they were formed, can say that they done fell off. So the reason why you got different factions, because of that wayward type of wayward, we can't see where you're coming from now. We can't see where you're going. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So when you get through all of that smoke and mirror, you know that it began and end with compromise. So it's either fear or funding. And it ain't fear, so you already know what the other one is. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we at right now. And we got to try to look where to find these organizations to represent the black people. Test. See how with this homosexual agenda, which is one, and then two, where they getting their funding from. Because it's only a matter of time when compromise comes in, when you're getting funding outside of your people. When you start accepting funding or grants or any kind of thing from outside from our enemies, it's only a matter of time when they come back to you. And I wanted to speak to one thing that was on the last show with when you was talking about Angela Bassett, right?
Yes, sir.
It's not how you start, it's how you remember. Originally, if you go back, they wanted her to be that role that Halle Berry took. She says no, she's a role model, she's a mother, she's a role model to black women. And they waited and they waited and they waited and they waited and they got her. You understand? So that's the same compromise. Because it's not how you start, it's how you remember. You know what I mean? So that the brother did all of these years, right? This is how they want him to be remembered. So if they can't kill you, they kill your character and they destroy your character with this compromise. So there's a compromise that always exists that comes in so you can be remembered a certain kind of way. So no matter what you did, she went from Betty Shabazz, Dr. Betty Shabazz, to this. So it always comes a time for the compromise, and the compromise brings about the destruction.
Wait a minute, brother. I got to ask you a question because first of all, let me say, brother, the maturity and sophistication, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes that's why it's always good to be patient. Because I hadn't heard you before, you hear people coming in, you don't know who they are, so I really underestimated the weight of what you was gonna say, brother. Let me tell you what you just said that hit me like a ton of bricks. Am I to understand that you're saying the possibility exists that like they did with Dr. Martin Luther King, where the only thing that we hear in history ringing over and over and over again as a representation of what he believed in was, I have a dream that you can hold hands with little white folks and love them, and that became what he was remembered by, and that becomes his treasonous legacy. Are you saying in that same way that they can take this piece of the lecture and this Million Man March with 1 million people out there with Minister Farrakhan is saying, don't judge the LGBT, and they can run that, and in history, he'll be remembered as the man that said, we support the gays and we love them? Hello? The brother dropped. Wow. That's what I got from what the brother said. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This is getting way heavier than I thought it was going to get. Dang, I would not want that as my legacy. All right, I'm gonna go to our quick break, brothers and sisters. Stay tuned though. I'm coming to all the phone calls. I see you there. Hang on, we coming down the line. We'll be back with you in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Praise Nat Turner, glory to God be long, let the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Come on here, sis.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and along with the spirit of the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Black family, we have several announcements for this evening. The next upcoming event with Irritated Genie and Warren Horizon will be presenting will be at the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia this coming weekend. That's the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia, both Saturday and Sunday, November 14th and November 15th. The House of Consciousness is located at 633 West 35th Street in Norfolk, Virginia. The doors will open at 5 p.m. on both days. The telephone number for more information is 757-314-1943. Again, that's 757-314-1943. So if you're down there in that Tidewater area, Norfolk, Chesapeake, that whole area there, please come out to hear Irritated Genie and come join the family so we can build. Again, that's going to be at the House of Consciousness this Saturday and Sunday, and it's entitled Irritated Genie, the VA Lockdown. Following that, Black family, we have the Straight Black Pride Southeastern Regional Kickoff. The launching for that chapter will take place on Saturday, November 21st. Doors open at 5 p.m., and the event is going to be held at Soul Vegetarian Restaurant at 879-B Ralph Abernathy Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia, 30310. Dynamic event featuring the keynote speakers, Irritated Genie. We're also going to have Baba Baruti, our esteemed warrior scholar. We're also going to have Sister Queen Jasira, and Brother Kaba Soul Singer doing musical performances. The event is hosted by our family, Franklin and Tasha, in Atlanta. They can be reached at 678-267-4152. Again, that's 678-267-4152. We are calling all brothers and sisters in the southeastern region of the United States to come out, again, Saturday, November 21st, for the official launching of the Southeastern Regional Chapter of Straight Black Pride. We need everybody to come out and join. We're also going to have Sister Mecca Galley coming all the way from Canada to take measurements for your personalized garments. We're going to have another sister who's going to be bringing in her African pillows. Overall fantastic event celebrating Straight Black Pride and kicking off the chapter in the Southeastern region. After that, Black family, we're going to be in New York for King Simon's 20th anniversary celebration on December 6th, Sunday. It's going to be at Tropical Reflections Ballroom, 4501 Glenwood Road in Brooklyn. 4501 Glenwood Road in Brooklyn. The event starts at 2 p.m. And it for more information, sorry, I can't get the whole flyer here. Of course, that would happen. Just give us a call. I can't see the whole flyer. Just give us a call, 202-309-9106 for more information. That's 202-309-9106 for more detailed information about the 20th anniversary of King Simon Productions. The topic is Let's Go Back to Basics, Reestablishing the Code of Conduct. It features the keynote address by our very own Professor Griff, Straight Black Pride leader. Sister Keisha will be in the house. Brother Polite will be in the house. Sister by the name of Abundance Child. Of course, King Simon and his beautiful wife. Our Straight Black Pride regional leader, Tad Cromwell. Brother Terry Bates, Roy Strayhorn. Just a host of people are coming out to honor King Simon and his 20 years of work for our people. And then finally, Black family, during the weekend of December 11th Irritated Genie will be in San Bernardino, California. This is our first time on the West Coast. We are excited. The family out there is gearing up. We don't have all of the details yet, but we want you to stay tuned for more information. Stay tuned to the station as well as to our Facebook, our email, our website. As we get more information about the particulars, we will disseminate those to you. However, mark your calendars. If you're on the West Coast, Irritated Genie is coming to San Bernardino, California, the weekend of December the 11th. And with that, Black family, if you have any questions about any of the events coming up or anything about Straight Black Pride, or you'd like to order any of our products, you can call us at 202-309-9106. Again, that's 202-309-9106. Abiba Bahodier and Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride. You can also email us at any time at liberationatwaronthehorizon.com. So let me go back to the phone lines. 3787. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Yes, brother Irritated. Praise Marcus Garvey.
Praise Nat Turner.
Praise Nat Turner. I'm sorry about that.
Glory to God.
Glory to the most honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Yes, brother, this is Dr. Issa, man. I just want to commend you on your sacrifice. You know, it's kind of easy for people to forget, you know, the sacrifices you made in order to make sure that our group survives, that our group is here for the next 1,000 years. You know, our people have selective memory, and we easily forget. So I want to thank you on that, and I also want to thank you for constantly challenging the minister, Louis Farrakhan. I come from a family in which all of my family on my mother's side are members of the Nation of Islam. I grew up in the Nation of Islam. And for you to constantly be in the vanguard to challenge the things that the minister is doing or is forced to do, you know, you need to be commended for that. I just wanted to ask you briefly about, I put something in your Facebook message under I'm not sure if it was under Kamathi, Ayo Kamathi, but it was something, and you may have already spoke on this another time, I'm not sure, but scientists finding this way to change the sex of frogs. Now, yeah. I heard Dr. Frances Quest Wesley speak on this. I heard a DVD recently that she did at Howard at the Black United Front. And I don't know if you talked about that, but I want to hear your opinion on that they are actually putting stuff in our foods to change the sex. And also, someone told me recently that something is going on in Memphis, and it may be going on all over the country, where people in Memphis, Texas, black folk, that they look different than what they looked 20 years ago, and that there may be some type of experiment. And I don't want to get into any type of conspiracy theory. I just want to know if the listening audience has heard anything like this. I have a friend that I really, really respect who told me he was recently in Memphis, and he's an esteemed scholar and intellectual, well published, and he said, man, it was just scary looking at our people there. He said they didn't look normal. And so I wanted to ride on that and listen to you, brother.
All right, well, I appreciate the call, brother. Keep doing that strong work and keep that sacrifice up, and it all pay off. We really appreciate you, brother.
All right, brother.
All right. Yeah, the brother's talking about atrazine. If you get the effeminization of the Black Male Reloaded, you can go to onehorizon.net and get the electronic download, or if you want a physical copy, you can go to onehorizon.com and go to our store and order the effeminization of the Black Male Reloaded. In there, you have a professor. I forget the professor. His name is His name is escaping me at the moment. But he's a black professor, and he was paid by a company called Syngenta to test a chemical they have called atrazine. And long story short, he found that it actually changed the gender of frogs. Male frogs began to grow ovaries. It was a whole bunch of stuff that it was doing. And this is a chemical that's put on many of the pesticides on our fruits and vegetables and things of that nature. So our people are getting, people in this country period are getting an unhealthy dose of this on a regular basis. And that's an actual factual study. That's not skepticism. Matter of fact, you can go to put on atrazine or Syngenta, Sygenta, and put in chemicals creating homosexuality. And you can go watch it on Democracy Now! On YouTube or some of that nature. You can actually see where it's actually creating gender confusion. The males start trying to mate with males. The females start trying to mate with males. The male start growing female ovaries. The penises began to shrink. I mean, just all kind of sexual disgendering occurring because of these chemicals. So to answer your question, yes, they're using chemicals to disgender and create gender confusion and destruction of our people. It's a fact. It's not even a question anymore. Also, as it relates to, let me think what the last thing he asked me to talk about. Memphis. I can say this, only thing I can say with certainty. I was given a very specific tour by Brothers Keeper who are from Memphis when I traveled down there very recently, and there's an entire section of Memphis. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it has the highest rate of birth defects in the nation. And basically they built these plants in the black community. And in those black communities where they built those plants, the percentages of birth defects of the black people in that particular area are like substantially higher than anywhere else in the country. So it's that's another thing that's a factual data and information of the fact that they say where they had frogs growing with 3 heads and all around these chemical plants and things of that nature. So whether it's an intentional experiment being done with our people, or it's whether them putting those chemical plants with the very damaging chemicals in that community, again, in Memphis, Tennessee, it's a fact that there are an incredibly large number of birth defects relating directly to the chemical plants that are put in communities right there with black people. So both of those things are accurate in their essence. Let me go to Cincinnati. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I bear witness there is no other God but Amen.
There's no God but He. Come on in here, brother, talk to me.
Hey, how you doing, Ward?
Hey, man, I'm in the battle, man, still on the battlefield.
Oh, yeah. What do you think that the minister is trying to do? Do you think he's deliberately sending these people out?
I'm going to say it like this. If I were to read this correctly, I see the small hat's involvement.
Yeah.
I see it like this. The small hat knows that the best move they have on the chessboard is to get the Pan African Black Nationalist community in an infighting with the Nation of Islam. So whatever means they have to convince Minister Farrakhan to go out and promote the homosexual agenda will create a natural clash and conflict with Warner Horizon, Straight Black Pride, and the other Pan-African nationalist community that are beginning to wake up to the homosexual agenda. It's a natural clash. It puts them at odds with the whole African world. It puts them at odds with the entire religion of Islam. It puts them at odds directly with the Pan-African Black nationalist community, and in specific, puts them in direct conflict with me. Now, they've already measured my personality, so anybody knows, knows if you send somebody to the Irritated Genie event, and specifically to state a pro-homosexual position, you already know he's gonna challenge you, which is automatically with the Nation of Islam, through its membership, is going to create conflict. So I see the small hat compromising people in the nation to create a set of circumstances to try to reduplicate Brother College getting shot or Brother Malcolm getting killed or a conflict that doesn't have to exist?
Because you have Nation of Islam members in the Straight Black Pride movement, correct?
We have people that are supportive. We had people that were in, but since this whole homosexual thing that the nation is doing, they backed out.
Okay. Well, I had to say probably wouldn't be relevant then, because I was just gonna say we're gonna have to watch those people in that organization. But I mean, if they backed out, then you wouldn't have to watch them. I mean because the nation, they don't have I'm sad to say it, but they don't got a good track record with people that they oppose.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, especially, I know you're not an ex-member, but especially the ex-members, but it just seems like that Farrakhan is just playing. The moves that he's making just let me know that he's basically being a puppet while somebody else is the puppeteer. That's what it looks like to me.
And the reason I say that is because I'm just going to be 100% honest. If it was no involvement, no money, nothing compromising someone, there's no logical reason that Minister Farrakhan would be promoting the homosexual agenda. It's just not logical. It goes completely against Islam. It goes completely against the Nation of Islam. It goes completely against nature. It goes against blackness. It's against everything the platform he stands on. So then that means there's some kind of compromise there. But even with a compromise, it's not, okay, he's participating, but it's not his objective to do this because there's nothing in it for him when black people turning homosexual. The only people who have an incentive to push this agenda are those that are trying to commit genocide against our people and homosexuals. So it's the small hats and the homosexuals who are behind this. But they're using the Nation of Islam as a tool for the destruction and the devastation and the genocide of African people. And it's glaringly obvious to anybody with eyes to see.
Yeah. I just really lost. I can't say I lost respect for it because I haven't had that much respect for him for about the past 7-8 years. So yeah,
No, I'm listening.
That's all. Just probably want to watch the people that's around you that's affiliated with them. That's all. That's the main thing I would say.
I'll be honest, and the reason I didn't say anything, I'm not a person. People know me now. I don't really operate out of fear, but I ain't gonna lie. There's a little bit of a bitterness and a resentment I'm feeling behind this because my mind is like, it's not a fight that I want. You know what I'm saying? It's not fear. I don't operate like that, but it's like I'm bitter. I like the Nation of Islam. I don't want to have to dispute with the Nation of Islam over some fags. It's like,
right.
You know what I mean? It's a bitterness. You don't want that because you don't want to fight with straight black people over some faggots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when a person has a mother and you got a great family, but you got one brother that's fag, and the mother is supporting him, so you end up resentful towards your mother because you want him out so that the family can get around and enjoy them so that you can bring your children around, but she insists that the fag be there. So now you can't bring your children to be around the family. Now the family's all busted up. And you're mad with the mom because she's fighting with the fags and creating a war that separates you from your family and creates conflict. And it's like, damn, Mom, you care more about this faggot than you do the entire family. You're imbalanced with your thinking. This person has been corrupted. You're not trying to bring them back around. You're supporting their sickness by allowing them to be around, which ultimately it's something that does damage to all of us. So it's just a point of resentment, man. I really resent even having to do a program like this because it doesn't make any sense.
And I would tell you, like, the security or the just, watching what's going on is more, because when you do this movement, we understand that you ain't scared because you fighting probably a stronger enemy than just about anybody there is right now on the earth. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's not that you fearful, but it's the fact that, a situation that happened to you might stymie the whole movement of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm trying to say?
I do.
So I already know that there's no fear operating, but, for the people that's on the track on going where you're going, that might just devastate them if something were to happen to you.
Well, see, this is why I'm so resentful of it. Because I know so many people in the Nation of Islam, I already know ain't no brothers in the nation going to do nothing. But this is the problem. By them doing what they're doing now and forcing me to have to say stuff about it, they're forcing my hand. You're coming to our events, pushing your agenda. What it does is it allows the enemy to say, okay, if he doesn't say nothing, they get to push that agenda and crack the momentum we got. So I'm forced to take a position against it. And then by the nation responding all angrily there and creating a climate where people are saying that was contentious. So now the enemy has the option to get a freebie on a brother.
Right.
Because the enemy can come and then it gets blamed on the nation. Even though the brothers and sisters of the nation do not agree with this, but their behavior and their leadership is leading them down a path to create the climate where they take the rap. It's like, I don't have a problem with the fags and the crackers. I know what I'm dealing with, but don't give them a play on the board. Don't do it like that. It makes you resentful because y'all don't even believe this, but you're letting your leadership supplant you in wickedness, and it could devastate everybody. You've done this before. You know what I'm saying? You've done this already. So it's like, it ain't no excuse for you. You done this already. You know what I mean? They've done it before.
Right.
And it's showing they haven't learned nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nation, you ain't learned nothing. You cannot say nobody in the Nation of Islam can make an honest assessment and say, I'm trying to undermine the nation. If anything, the stuff I've been saying has helped the nation get stronger.
Right.
I'm not the one inviting crackers in the nation. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
I'm not inviting fags. I'm not inviting crackers and everybody else. I don't have nothing to do with that.
And I would say this too. I mean, to me, it's like this: the members at some point gonna have to draw a line in the sand because these people are standing for two different things. Elijah Muhammad seemed like he stood for one thing, and Farrakhan seemed like he stand for something else. So I don't understand how you could say you follow them both when they don't teach the same thing. I just don't understand that.
Well, bro, I guess we ain't gonna figure it out tonight, bro. But I definitely appreciate your commentary. And look, man, we gonna keep moving. I'm gonna tell you now, I'm gonna do it just like I've been doing. I ain't gonna change nothing. We gonna keep flying straight, and we gonna be straight black and proud. How about that?
All right, straight black pride got me putting crackers in the trunk.
Somebody got to do it. Straight black pride. That's my brother out of Cincinnati, always on the path. Let me go to 4211. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
How you doing, my brother? This is the Truth Doctor.
Truth Doctor in the house. What's going on, my brother?
Detroit is in the house, brother. I was calling in tonight. I don't really call in that much because, I'm trying to keep this work going. But tonight I was interested in what you're talking about with the Nation of Islam embracing this homosexual agenda. And, they've always brought out the homosexuals. They brought them at the Garvey. They brought them, during the Civil Rights Day because my opinion is that the homosexual is the biggest supporter of white supremacy than any other black person that will support white supremacy. And the reason I say that is that because they know that they cannot exist in the Afrocentric paradigm. So they protect white supremacy because this is where they can flourish through their freakery at.
So you saying that what we're watching is the same thing because remember, Gay Philip Randolph, who started the Garvey Must Go movement, was a homosexual.
Yep.
And the whites used him against the Garvey movement. James Baldwin used to say some very negative things about Brother Malcolm and the direction of the Nation of Islam and things of that nature. Even trying to make Nat Turner into a homosexual through supporting William Styron and doing that. They brought Barrett Rustin in on Martin Luther King and changed him from being the Montgomery bus boycott direction in terms of organizing black people to use our economics against Europeans to this whole love white folks and integration thing. So you're saying that now the homosexuals, this is a little different though. The homosexuals now are using heterosexuals as opposed to the whites using homosexuals to undermine us. Now the whites are using homosexuals to get heterosexual to fight against us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did it back then. I mean, they got, King to go against the Malcolm's ideology and the Nation of Islam ideology.
Yep.
They got, the other brothers that was in the NAACP to go against Marcus Garvey's plan. I mean, it's just the same thing going on again. The small hats, this, playing these same tricks over and over and over again. It's us who's not realizing what's going on. Except for you. I'm not talking about you, Janie. I'm talking about the other people.
I understand what you're saying.
What the hell is going on because they won't look, into history. They won't study their history. They won't study American history. They want to go all the way back to Kemet, which I don't, Kemet, it's all right to know about Kemet, but Kemet was so far back. You got to find out what's been happening to you since you've been in captivity. You know what I'm saying? Amongst with this beast here. And this is where, the brothers are getting all messed up because anything you throw out there to black people, they turn it into a religion. You know what I'm saying? They everything's turned into a religion, and we didn't ever practice religions in the first place. This is what I can't understand. You got the Moors, you got the Israelites, you got the nation, you got all these crazy religions, and I'm to the point that when we get rid of this, then we can really clean house. Because this homo thing, you're killing your bloodline. And my other opinion, and I'm going to get off, is that the white man been killing us for over 2,000 years. But he just can't seem to kill us out. He killed the brothers down in Congo. They have a population explosion in Nigeria. They have a population explosion in Brazil, somewhere. And then their race is reducing. So I think that they probably figured out that if I can't kill them, let me get them to kill themselves. And that's the only thing you can do with homosexuality is kill yourself. It's a death style. And it's never be nothing more than a death style. Because you can't plant your seed in dirty feces and expect it to come up unless it's a plant or something. It's growing out of there.
Brother, I don't think it could have been said more concise and more strong and more accurately than that. We appreciate you calling in and supporting. Tell people what time and days you have your program and how they can tune into you.
Oh, well, my program is on sporadically, but I just had Ash Wakwazi on the other day, so you could go and download that. I had Dr. Williams on. You could download that. We have plenty of shows to download, and Wake Up African People supports Straight Black Pride, supports Irritated Genie. We had him on our shows. You could go back and listen to them if you want to. Very exciting. Good information. The Genie is doing the biggest job that I can see out here now is fighting this genocide against our people. Because you understand, this genocide is
Let me do this. We got to go to our next call, but just tell people where they can find that video at, bro. I mean, your programs. What website?
With the people on Blog Talk Radio, check me out. I'm the Truth Doctor, and listen to our show and Straight Black Pride, my brother.
All right, Straight Black Pride. You want to check them out at Truth Doctor. You go into Blog Talk Radio and put in Truth Doctor. You can find the program and check them out. All right, brothers and sisters. Let me go to 7624. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Hey, Jimmy.
How you doing,
my brother?
All right.
Good. Yeah, we gotta approach this intellectually. This ain't nothing but a repeat, leading up to a possibility, leading up to that us versus Panther situation. Just like the brother, the caller before me was saying, they want us to fighting amongst ourselves. But we need to start approaching that racially files about some of the issues where they're contradicting themselves on. Talking to them about the areas that we do agree upon, but asking them how do they feel about that, are they promoting that? We need to start doing more recruiting drives with the racial files in the nation. Because some of them got to be thrown back by some of this that came out. Some of them might not even be recognizing it, that because of the camaraderie and how being in the frenzy with a group of people, how they just blind you to just accept whatever you hear without, analytical thoughts, creeping in versus the situation. One of the things we can't do is just, react without some type of strategy. What's the plan A? What's the plan B? Because like Copley clearly brought out when he brought out the science of the beast, they go on patterns. And just like the caller before me, he named the patterns all the way with King, with Ruskin, Garvey, and to the present. And we see the same pattern. They always come up with something that draw us to respond to them, get us away from dealing with our enemy. There's going to come a time that we could have to get with sellouts in our community. We just ain't at that level. But recognizing the small hat tactics, historical patterns, how to really sit back and analyze it and how to come at it strategically. Like Amos said, this is an intellectual battle. This is a battle of the mind also. And some of the things that we did, we saw that Huey and them called out us. They called out Malala Karinga and them on some of the limitations and some of the misdirecting that was taking place during those times. They wanted them brothers to get, Huey and them wanted to confront the conditions that was facing the community, and you had us over there wanting to get back into the culture or what have you. And their response was like, look, man, this ain't happening with police brutality, homosexuals and gender unemployment, mass incarceration. It's a good thing to add, but making this our sole objective, like you see what's taking place in the community, you see a lot of misdirections going on. We get into evolution now. We're going to solve the problem of black liberation. But our thing is, man, is how to strategize with this. Brothers on the corner, we know what it be. We want to sit down and talk to them. How do you feel about this, man? Are you thinking about this? You know what I'm saying? If you ever get fed up, here's an option. You don't got to continue in that path of destruction of the black community because that's all it is. We got to come up with the strategic strategies to respond to this. Calling them out and exposing it because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have known that they had it because I didn't even check none of it out. I went to the first one, and I was reluctant to go in. Just out of being with the fellas, I went on and went because I've been seeing a lot of hypocrisy and fair kind before, Scientology. I mean, man, I finally got the fellas, and I was a street cat. I finally got some of the fellas off the corner to go down to Cobo Arena to hear, and I lost them forever. I'm hoping like, the fair time will fire them up. They're like, John, where you be going, man, when you be leaving us? We go down to Cobo, they was like, man, if you into that, that ain't going nowhere, man. But looking at these patterns, we definitely can't respond in the same mode where it look like it's division and we fighting amongst each other, at the same time, the real perpetrator is going by unscathed. So we got to, use this as a mobilizing opportunity. And that's going to take some serious thoughts and some serious planning. Because a lot of times, historically, we react to it. We continue our agenda, but they gain the momentum through the cruelties that they have to affect us.
Well, brother, I think what you said again is a very profound call, like the one before, and I definitely understand you saying what you're saying. The way I'm interpreting what you're saying is, it's clear what's happening, and we have to navigate in a way that does not allow us to have a repeat of the circumstances we've had through the generations, where the enemy can come in, create conflict amongst us, use one of us to do conflict and create conflict with other ones, and then we all end up internally fighting it and spending our energy fighting with each other when we're not even focused on the real objective. So I got you. That's checked and logged in. Thank you for calling. Please don't be a stranger, because we need that kind of insight in the future. All right, my brother?
Not at all, my brother.
All right.
Straight back that.
Yes, sir. That's real talk, what the brother just said. I ain't gonna lie, that one got by me. I didn't think about it. That's how it has to be done. And I really want the brothers and sisters that's listening in the nation, because I know they are. They listen. That's what they do. They make sure they protect, their space. I really need you to do this. I need you to go back and soul search on this one. You do not want, I'm talking about for your own spiritual comfort, your ability to sleep at night. You don't want to be in a conflict with a group of people, even intellectually. I mean, you just don't want to have conflict with black people who are saying we're against homosexual agenda. It's just a non-righteous position. Whatever dispute you have on that wouldn't even be nothing worth talking about. I mean, unless you're a homosexual, in which case you ain't supposed to be in the NOI. If you are an NOI member, you ain't supposed to be a homosexual or homosexual friendly. And so that being the case, you don't even want a program like this to have occurred where someone is saying that the Nation of Islam is pro-homosexual. So that then people start coming and say, well, is that true? And start looking and going, I don't know, and ask you the question. But, you as an organization, you've allowed yourself to get to the point where that's the reality. You're openly promoting homosexuality. You're doing it in public. So now you want to go back. You want to get this one right. You want to go back to the drawing board, get it right. And what I would do if I was in the nation, I say, look, we got to undo this. We got to come out and make a public, very strong statement against homosexuality, and then we would just never answer any questions or any of the other stuff we said in the past, and we will continuously repeat this same statement over and over and over again, some to the effect that homosexuality is unnatural, it's European behavior, it's not black. The black Asiatic man's culture is the black man with the black woman, blah, 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 blah. And we do not accept this culture as part of ours. We don't want this behavior. And any of our people that's involved in it, we want to try to help them and get them out as soon as possible, because it's inappropriate and it's unacceptable within the context of our black communities. And then keep it going. And then you back on good and everything is straight. We just keep on moving and keep fighting the battle the way we think it's supposed to be fought. You cannot hold this position, though, and maintain legitimacy and pretend that you're representing the interests of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and of the black race, and promote homosexuality at the same time. It is making you the enemy that you said for so many years, the lost and the dead black man and woman. You are becoming the living dead by taking this position. You don't want to go this path. There's no righteousness in it. 9636, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. We go 0900. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
I'm just listening. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Anonymous call. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. Anonymous call. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Shout out to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What's going on, Genie?
Dude, what's going on, man?
What's going on, bro? It's funny you had this topic because last night when I go to sleep, I usually like to listen to something on YouTube, till I fall asleep. So I was listening to Khaled's speech at Howard University, thinking to myself, I was like, I don't think people realize how great he was. Like, he ain't care. The stuff he said, his charisma, his articulation, and he was a great person, and it seems like you don't have that anymore, because when I was growing up, he was one of the reasons that attracted, I was never a member, but he was one of the people that attracted me to them because of the way he talked. You know what I'm saying? He was just a strong dude. Like, he was uncompromising. You know, he was the epitome of strength. You know what I'm saying? He was like, he just didn't care. You knew he was about black people first. He wasn't taking no money from nobody to bend and, you know, be compromised and stuff like that. So it's funny that you're having this show. And it's also ironic that you were in the Deep South, and you have a man and a woman from a Nation of Islam arguing with you about including LGBT. How ironic is that in the Deep South? I mean, those people probably came from Christian backgrounds where the South is supposed to be, you know, conservative South, you know.
And you want me to add a level of depth to the irony? The Christians in the room were completely in agreement with me. So the black Christians in the room were saying, no, we need to concentrate on black men and women building families, and the Nation of Islam was saying we need to include the homosexuals.
Yeah, you know, it's like sad. It's like you see like a friend just dying and wasting away. That's almost how you see it, because even when I was at the Million Man March, I saw a couple of white guys. As a matter of fact, I think Sarnetta went to talk to him. I seen one of his videos. I think that guy was Hispanic or whatever. But I seen like people that didn't look black like they was in the Nation. And it bothered me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking about Khaled and, you know what I'm saying, all the rap I used to listen to where, you know what I'm saying, Brand Nubian and Grand Poobah, all that. So I happened to talk to one of the guys. I pulled one of the guys aside, and he happened to be from Jersey. He was from Camden. I said, yo, y'all let white people in the Nation now? And he was like, nah, we don't do that. But it come to find out that particular Camden mosque is not under Farrakhan. So you have like those, like I think one of the earlier callers said, you got different I guess divisions that broke away. Like I guess they didn't want to do the Scientology, or they felt like Farrakhan was taking away Fard Muhammad as Allah and the person and all that kind of stuff. So they said, nah, we sticking to Elijah's teachings. That's why you have all those little smaller groups in these cities. But even when you look at the final call, I noticed recently they talk a lot about diversity and, you know, those homo words, you know what I'm saying? Like when they talk about, like, I think it was one of the issues after the march where they talked about, like, how it was a diverse crowd and they showing pictures of all these multiracial people. And I'm like, this isn't the Nation of Islam. You know, so I don't, it's got to be money. I don't know why from the top that they will push that, because like I said, I went to the mosque, the DC mosque, the day after the march, and they had at least 3 or 4 of their ministers or assistant ministers specifically say, like, you know, talk about, you know, gay stuff affecting the black community. Like, so I don't know if it's...
I need you to help me. So when they were speaking about it, you were convinced that they were sincere and they wasn't with it.
Yeah, I was sincere, because I mean, like 3 or 4 different people, you know, talked about it. They were like, they effeminizing the males, and that got some of the loudest applause, because it was a packed house. That got some of the loudest applause when they said that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like any, you know, gray area where you kind of had to read into it. You know what I'm saying? It was really direct. Like, you understood what they were saying, and that's what the people responded to the most. So, you know, with that guy in Dallas or whatever, what have you, saying that, I mean, I don't know. And even the funny thing is, too, I had seen the guy from the Nation at the Metro, and I was buying a bean pie from him. And another guy came up to him. He's a, you know, black guy. He's probably like late 40s, early 50s. And he pulled the Nation of Islam guy aside. He was like, hey, man, he said, y'all let white people, he looked like he was upset, like he was mad, like, you know, he just was like, y'all let white people in the Nation of Islam now? And the Nation of Islam guy tried to assure him that wasn't the case, but you could tell the guy, he know what he saw. You know what I'm saying? And a guy at that age, he probably came up where it was a totally different nation, where it was nothing but black first. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know. So I don't know why. What do you think? Why would Farrakhan do this? Like, what does he have to gain?
I'm gonna say this. I don't want to speculate because I don't know. This is what I can say for sure. I can feel it in my spirit. Now I can't prove it, but I can feel it. This is the small hats operating. Now, what magic they have and what they have to use as leverage to get the nation to do this, I have no idea. I just know a hat when I see it. I know a hat move. I can smell small hats coming. I can smell their hook noses. It's a hat move. I don't have the information to tell you how, but it's the hats. That I'm sure of. I just don't know how they got. I don't know. I'm not there, so I can't say there's a hat move. This is not the genuine body politic of the Nation of Islam, the membership, the believers saying we promote homosexuality. It's not coming from there. It's the hats pulling a string, and I don't know what the string is, but it's being effective. I know that.
Yeah, because I think like a lot of, like you said, like if you talk to the members, for the most part, they don't bend with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was talking to the dude from Camden, like some of the women from the mosque were listening, and I could hear they was feeling what I was saying. And at that point, I didn't know that they weren't with Farrakhan, but like it almost like they had like a little smirk on their face, like that's why we not with them. That's all I had to say. I've always been a fan of them. It's like, personally, I like them. You know what I'm saying? Like as a group, like you could always look at them and have respect for them. Yeah, exactly. When you see them in the suits and the beam in the ties, and you see them, I feel a sense of pride when I see them. I in my head, I always wish those dudes well. Like even if I don't say nothing to them, I always wish them well. I wish the women well, and I don't know, maybe they don't feel like it's a threat because they have their own, ecosystem of men and women within their mosque to where they can see the marriages and all that kind of stuff because they only deal with each other. So maybe they don't feel that homo stuff is a threat because of what they see inside their own. It's not the membership. The membership don't agree with this stuff. They see it as a threat. They being led along the path of death and destruction, and it's the hats doing it. I just don't know how. I don't know. Somebody else will have to answer that. Somebody has better information, but it is the hats. I'm not Steve Coakley, but God knows. Honest to God, I need his spirit here. I wish he was here today because he would be able to explain it. Steve Coakley would be able to get and see exactly where the strings are being pulled, but I don't have that level of research capability and capacity or connections to know. But I do know it's very disturbing, bro. Yeah. All right, bro. I ain't gonna hold you up. I know you got a lot of calls. Take care, man. All right, take care. Appreciate the call, brother. Straight Black Pride. Straight Black Pride. Let me go to 5478. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How you doing, Brother Genie? I'm doing good, sister. How you feeling? I'm actually emotional right now. I was good, and then I got real emotional because, we keep referring back to, Dr. Khalid Muhammad and all of that, and I'm like, If we all watching, like we say we're watching, and we seen No Holds Barred, and we've seen Khalid come at Farrakhan before about stuff that he was doing, and he, when he called him out and said he was deviating from the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is way too much, you know what I'm saying? You got way too many people following you to be leading us into the fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. I don't know. So we already know that he's not perfect, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not, like, in no way, shape, or form am I, condoning what he's doing. But at the same time, I'm just like, yo, I'm upset because I know, just like you said, you know what I'm saying, when you said the hats was involved, I'm over here like, yeah, because you can smell the MF a mile away. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they have to be. Some way, there's no other explanation for what he's doing right now. And I thought, I've talked to my king about this before, like, yo, what's going on? Because Because when I'm listening to Malcolm and I'm listening to Dr. Khaled and I'm what I'm saying, I'm like, how come I'm hearing a different song? His lyrics is not the same as theirs. I don't understand that.
Mm.
The message has definitely changed, and it's changed drastically.
Mm.
What I'm saying? Something got to happen. I don't know. And I know that there's people there that see it too, but nobody's saying anything.
Well, they trapped because they want their institution that's been around and been a bedrock in the black community to continue to be there and to thrive. So they don't want to do anything that would cause dissension from within. Yet, it's like a Pied Piper that's leading the whole race to slaughter. You call a million black people to the center of the world power structure in the world, and then you tell them that not to judge homosexuals, but you don't have any of the real giants of African history or culture up there to say anything. You got homosexuals going up there. You got whites all in the audience.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Because I listen to the march.
You don't talk about Zionism.
I listen to it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You don't talk about Zionism, the secret relationship between blacks and small hats. You don't talk about any sexual abuse in our community and stomping it out. I mean, you basically just get up there and say it's cool to be, it's cool. We cool with the gays.
I listen to a lot of lectures from a lot of, different, a lot of you guys. I'm saying you guys because it's a lot of you guys out there. And, when I listen to the Million Man March, usually when I listen to, like, your lecture or, like, Dr. Umar or Dr. Khaled, I'm actually, learning something, right? I really didn't learn much from, I didn't see no way, like, the whole boycotting situation and all of that, and I just feel like that whole march completely, I want to say completely, but then I can't say completely, but, majority of it just went against what we were talking about, because once, I've heard somebody say before that the thing about Minister Louis Farrakhan is that he doesn't hate the sinner, he hates the sin, right? And I totally, I get that, but then I don't get that, because I'm like, unless you feeling like you can reform and do some more, which I'm not saying that the Nation of Islam hasn't, because I know they have. I mean, we've seen what they can do. But if it's not in a positive, if it's not going in a positive direction, like I said, are you leading us to the fire? I mean, damn, excuse me, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, let me do this.
I mean,
that's your point. I got to go to some more callers on the line, but definitely appreciate the call and the sentiment, and agree with you 100%.
Thank you. Straight Black Pride.
All right, Straight Black Pride. Let me go to 0900. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right, let me go to 8231. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right, let me go to 6789. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right, let me go to 5035. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. Let's go to 1191. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. Let me go. Sister Nancy. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Hey, Genie.
What's going on, sis?
Hey, man, I'm just listening. I'm actually surprised at, well, I guess I'm kind of surprised, but not surprised at what I'm hearing, because I when I looked at, some of his history with him, allowing the situation with, the racial dating and then allowing white people into the mosque and stuff, it was only a matter of time, before the Caucasians infiltrate their system and kind of manipulate things the way they kind of wanted it to happen. So I never would have seen it going to the point where they actually outright, endorse the homosexuality. I'm not a Muslim. I visited the mosque, Muhammad Mosque number 6 out here in Baltimore before, and know some of the sisters, and they really good people. But that's crazy. Like I came in kind of like in half of it, so it's like I kind of got half of the story of what happened. I know I heard you say they came to your event, kind of pushing it, but I didn't get like all the details of what happened because I came in like the middle of the show.
Mhm.
So
go ahead.
So do you think you can kind of fill me in a little bit of what what happened?
I got a lot of calls on the line. If you miss it, you might want to go back and listen to the.
I will. But that's. I mean, I heard enough to know. You said they came to your event. Kind of pushing the homosexuality. That was enough. That's crazy. But like I said, you got my full support, man. I definitely will be hoping for you for the best in that situation, man.
Oh,
and straight black pride, brother.
All right, straight black pride.
All right.
All right, let's go to. I think I lost a call. All right, so then we go to our next one. 5066. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Let me go to my sister Atiano. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. And long live the spirit of the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm good. Very good. Just a comment about that whole business with Farrakhan and stuff. The thing that struck me about that whole, I didn't hear all of it, but I had parts of it, but it was almost like he wasn't a Muslim anymore. He had all these Christian references, even when he's talking about, don't throw the stone, that was a Jesus reference. And then I also noticed in many of his speeches, even when he referred to the prophet, he didn't actually add that PBUH that they have to re-add, So he knows that he can't really speak for Islam because even the Muslims have, the Arab Muslims, as degenerate as they are, they don't even go for that. They're not nice with their homos. So he couldn't even speak for religion. This man has no loyalty to his own religion. It's called the Nation of Islam. And something else I would like to ask, the people who are in it. Everybody respects them. We know they've done good work and all that. But at the end of the day, are you following a religion? Are you following, principles, or are you following a person? Because many of us who, have been listening to you, we are not, fans or fanatics or people who just go anywhere that you go, or, Genie says this, so we have to obey. It's not that. You still have to use your mind and see, is this person really going where he said he was going? Is he really staying, consistent and all that? And when you see that, and you have to judge him versus a standard. So if their standard for it is, their religion, which is Islam, it shouldn't matter who it is. If that goes against their religion, then that's what they should stand up for, and somebody should say, no, this is not what the Prophet said or whatever, because I know categorically there is no religion, as strange and weird, there's no religion that even promotes it or says anything good about it. And it's a shame that, some of our people have to go to Tea Party crazy heads to, try to fight these homos, but that's how crazy it's gotten. So when he was there, he knew his audience very well. He knew he wasn't speaking, to the hardcore NOI members, the old school people who were against that. He was speaking to a Christian audience. He knows that Islam is a religion. For me, I'm not a Muslim, but to me, Islam has always been the religion of hatred. Now, that may be a personal bias or whatever, but that's how it always seemed to me: violence and killing and blood. But Christianity was always the soft religion, love you, everybody, turn the other cheek and all that. So those were the people that he was speaking to. He knows that the Christian church has almost capitulated, even in the Rome, and it's almost coincidental the Pope is coming out around the same time as all this stuff. But the church has basically capitulated on the homosexual agenda, the leadership of the church anyway. I know a lot of Christians also don't agree with the homosexual agenda, but since the leadership has gone that way, they want to forget everything that the Bible tells them. Even the Bible is so clear about it that for any Christian to even say, Jesus says love everybody. No, he didn't. He said love everybody, but he didn't say love homosexuals, So, even they have to backtrack and go against their own personal beliefs to follow these, crazy, strange people into the fire and the water. It's just that they have blinded everybody so much that nobody can even see straight anymore. Not the Christians, not the Muslims. You can betray your own religion for these faggots, for these people who are nothing to you, But anyway, so it seems to me that he has reached the end of his line, and that whole, legacy thing, that's what destroys people like Bill Cosby. They still want to hold on to some sort of, dignity when they know that their lives were not full of anything substantial or useful. So probably Farah can still hate it when people, bring back up Dr. Khalid, years and years after his death, like, what about me? But, he wants to bring something that people can say he did this, that, and the other, even if it's something that's going to destroy people. Some people prefer to destroy everybody and bring everybody down with them instead of just bowing gracefully, and that's something that's a problem with a lot of African leaders. The only African leader who voluntarily stepped down when he saw that his policies were not working was Brother Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. And so anyway, all right, well, that's all I wanted to say. Abibi Fahodie, straight left, right.
All right, and make sure you get me that flyer soon.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Straight left, right.
All right, straight black pride. She said a lot. She said it fast. Let me tell you. She got it in, though. Made a lot of sense. 5552. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 0972. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 0005. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner.
Praise Nat Turner.
Nat Turner. Glory to the Honorable Garvey. And long live the spirit of the Honorable Minister Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And just reflecting on the brothers and sisters, their comments. And I remember when Minister Farrakhan, in the effort, he said he would rebuild the nation, that he would stay the course. And I think now history will record this ship has run off course and is commanded by maybe a foreign force, a hostile force. And I mentioned that because of the report that I got, that I would like to refer to him as Reverend Archbishop Farrakhan, that he met with the Brockman family. And the Brockman family were boasting of their influence and their influence in the marketplace and business. But yet, Minister Farrakhan, to my knowledge, did not want to publicize that meeting. But when it came out, then it was later published in the newspaper. There were other signs. Not meeting with the Pan Africans, Black Nationalists, but yet meeting with white groups and organizations, seeking unity, solidarity, alliances with them. This developed, I would say, during the 80s and 90s, and it hit a Mount Hill. To me, it was it shifted a major shift in the wrong direction from around the time of Jesse presidency. Still not standing, I was considered strongly with the Black Nationalist, Pan Afrikanism, and was willing to put the organization, not uniting with those who stood again and Black nationalist organizations in his effort when he said he would rebuild the nation. This moves on from the 80s to the 90s. To the 90s, we had the Million Man March, not wanting to have Dr. Khaled, nor Dr. Khaled, one of his close associates, friends, attorney at war, the real attorney at war, not one of these fake attorneys at war, as they mentioned at the Million Man, I guess if you want to call it, march. And to the point that 20 years ago put us to the point of 1995, and not really putting with the brilliant minds, including you, Brother Irritated Genie, Dr. Umar, and the lot, Brother Carl Shulman. We see the strong individuals not really putting strong support behind Professor Griff when he was under attack, similar to Dr. Khaled. So I'm seeing, and I can, I'm going to shorten it, but there were too many examples, as the brother says, the mission was compromised. I said it was compromised a long time ago. I remember when rebuilding, he said he would rebuild the nation. My thoughts was, women, hold on. But you stood with Wallace. And my concern is that did Farrakhan and some type, and to me, this homosexual thing, what Wallace has done. So I think there are too many examples, and then an individual who will stand by him. I'm speaking of the Honorable Minister Abdul Muhammad, and yet wouldn't stand with him, and then stand with many of these sorry, pitiful individuals. That is a reflection of the level and the measure of character or lack of character. So I look at this, the individual, we say the individual have aborted the mission, aborted the agenda of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And there are some who say, refer to him nation called Incorporated. So and just talking with brothers, East Coast, West Coast, out of the country, the supporters, those who were with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and my understanding, individuals question Minister Farrakhan when he supposedly stood up. Was he sincere in his effort to rebuild? So now we're seeing the level of some say sincerity, or the level of lack of sincerity, and then above and beyond others, he's a very articulate speaker, a brilliant individual, but yet I see the entertainer part of him is coming out to produce a good show. And this reminded me of something of Ed Sullivan. He said, the last show was a big show, but this one is going to be a big show, bigger than the rest. So to beguile, to bamboozle for 20 years and not seriously want to meet with individuals and who the work mirrors the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not want to push and stand in solidarity with those who are seeking to keep the program or revive the program of the Honorable Marcus Garvey. This is really an insult. This is an insult, and we're adding insult to injury. Knowing the compromise, and I say the compromise in compromising the mission and the aim and purpose of the organization, yes, I see small hat written all over this.
Well, let me do this, brother. I got some more calls on the line, but I'm glad you shared because you had for a minute, you started making me feel the spirit of Steve Coakley there. You was really dropping some stuff that I wasn't aware of. And sometime in the future, if you could get more information on the meeting with Brothman, because I ain't gonna lie, at this point, I want to know, because it's relevant to what we're dealing with. We don't want an organization, an institution like the Nation of Islam promoting the homosexual agenda because we're not going to concede to the agenda. So it forces conflict with them. And they are not, the body element of the Nation of Islam are people who got in there because they love black people and they don't like homosexuality. So they are not the people that we want to be fighting with because they're not the objective, and the hats are behind this. So the more I can know about the hat influence in the Nation of Islam at this time, the more we can put the information out and let everybody know, okay, this is why it's happening.
Oh, my brother, I just want to say this. I talked with one brother, and he made me promise. He said, and he used certain words I won't repeat. He said, brother, whatever you do, don't mention my name. We're not behind this effing BS. We're not, brother. But yet brother had to stomach this at Union Temple Baptist Church. And a number of individuals in the nation had to stomach this when the transvestite, which was a trade-off with Reverend Wilson by inviting Black Lives Matter, and it was requested that the transvestite be a part of the program. Many of the members of the nation this because Farrakhan is pushing the homosexual agenda.
Brother, I'm glad you said that. Let me tell you this. Because the person I know is a good friend, I didn't say this. But now that you said it, I might as well go ahead and say it. I can verify what the brother's saying. They had a flyer in promotion of the Million Man March where they had a daggone transy promoted on the flyer to be on the panel. A transsexual on the panel talking about the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. I'm telling y'all what I know. And the brother just put it out there, so I don't have to. I didn't not keep my word. You put it out there. I didn't. That did happen, brothers and sisters. And I would have told everybody, but I had promised somebody, that if they sent me what they was going to send me, that I wouldn't use it, so I couldn't use it because I wanted to keep my word.
Oh, I'm going to say this. I talk with brothers and sisters. I'm going to let others come on. But I talk with individuals who are in agony over this crap now in the organization. But in other words, they put this time, energy in, and seeing this shift in direction of promoting the homosexual agenda. Many of them are peed off, and it's like, but see, to me, and we're like, as you said, a deal was struck behind the scene. Don't come and present to me you're the strong black man, and you're going to stand on these principles, and yet you're cutting the deals with the small hats behind the scenes.
All right, brother. Well, I'm glad I'm glad we held you for that last little bit because that was very important. I had it, but I didn't put it out there. But now that you said it, now I'm going to share the flyer. Because people need to see this flyer so that you can understand. They had an event prior to the Million Man March promoting it where they had a transy on or somebody that was a blatant, transsexual, some weird stuff. I got the flyer, and they were promoting this stuff openly in the public right here in Washington, D.C., and I want to make sure everybody knows I'm not making it up when I'm saying that the Nation of Islam, I'm not saying that the people in the Nation of Islam believe in it. Like the brother saying, they're toiling, their stomachs are turning. They don't believe in it. That's not good enough. If you're wearing the bow tie and you're wearing the spirit of Elijah Muhammad, we got to make something happen. Something got to give. We can't keep having, it can't work that way. It's got to give. It's got to give. We can't have the nation doing it. It's got to give.
It's got to give, Brother Irritated Genie. It's got to give, man.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, straight black pride.
Straight black pride. That was serious. That was real talk. Man, we got some mature brothers and sisters. Ain't nobody coming in here, N-word this, N-word that. It's just real, direct talk, and something got to give. Brothers and sisters in the nation, I know y'all listening. Y'all got to get it right. You have this ain't one. You can't pretend to have an ounce of righteousness or decency in your spirit and be promoting our sons getting sodomized every night. You don't want that on your legacy, that Elijah Muhammad's organization promoted homosexuality. Because they'll forget the first 100 years or the first however many years, the first 80 years, and the legacy of the Nation of Islam be like, this was the Black Power organization or the nationalistic organization that promoted homosexuality. You don't want that. You don't want to go to sleep at night knowing that it happened under your reign. Brothers and sisters in the nation, take a stand. 4903, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. Anonymous call, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Hey, Jenny, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How you doing, brother?
Fantastic. How about you, warrior?
I'm fine, man. Hey, look, I just wanted to ask you something. I see a common thread with all this. I don't really know the brother that much, but I know he's in the middle of a lot of pro-black stuff down there in D.C. Reverend Willie Wilson. What's up with that brother, man? Is he the middleman on all this stuff that's going on?
Well, let me. Do you got a minute so I can break this down?
Yeah, I got a minute, brother.
All right. In my book, this is already, it was written in 2005. It was put out and published in 2005. I got the story of Willie Wilson. Let me just make it a quick story. He was at one time he was very nationalistic. He had the black church, black divinity picture on the backdrop, real nice and everything. Pushing the Asians out of the black community for the exploitation of black people, all that kind of stuff in Southeast D.C., right in the hood. So we used to support him because we was nationalists, but he was strong. All of a sudden, in the late 90s, probably around 97 or 98, he started supporting and pushing this homosexual stuff. Now, this was after the faith-based initiative. We didn't know about the faith-based initiative at the time, though. We didn't know that it was being used to finance the black ministers to promote homosexuality in the black community. That's what the faith-based initiative money was for, but we didn't know that. So we knew that there was a faith-based initiative thing that happened, and we knew that he was promoting homosexuality, but we didn't put the two together at the time. So anyway, by 1999, it got so bad that members of his church, because they knew about our position on homosexuality, they started coming to us and telling us, hey, he's pushing this stuff too much, and they sent us a letter. I was in an organization called Positive Comedic Visions at the time. They sent a letter and said, look, he's having this gathering where he's going to promote homosexuality. And the first time he did it, we didn't know about it. We got the tape, and we listened. We said, what the heck is going on? So this time, we actually went. And we showed up on a Tuesday night. There was about, now I want you to understand, to put this in perspective, brother, because with your question, this is a loaded gun I'm about to give you. This is a loaded weapon. This is the 90s. Remember, even though there was homosexuals around, the whole homosexual discussion was not open like it is now. So there was nobody talking about supporting homosexuality in 1990. Nobody in the broad view of the public, okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We go to this meeting. It was about 200 homosexuals in the sanctuary. It's a big sanctuary. There probably over 1,000 people, but you can imagine it was about 20 of us, maybe 15, 20 of us, all black, fatigued. It's about 200 homosexuals sitting around in the pews. And then there's a panel up there to promote homosexuality where they had the same Rainy Cheeks, the gay dude that did the the libation at the Million Man March this year. He was up there, and he did a whole lecture, a whole spell. I'm a gay dude. He actually said that. Now I'm gonna tell you a statement. I'm not making this up, brother. I couldn't make this up. He saw us out there, sitting out there in our militant formation, and I guess they thought we were coming to fight, but we weren't. We were coming just to give our opinion on it. Well, he looks at us when he's speaking and says, I may be gay, but if I go down, I'm going to go down with somebody's balls in my hand. I'm not trying to be vulgar, brothers and sisters. I'm just telling you the honest to God truth. The guy said this. I remember this. So anyway, there are 200 homosexuals. I'm estimating the number. And the lesbians out there. And literally, every time Reverend Wilson or the other people on the panel start promoting homosexuality, the lesbians start clapping and kissing each other in the mouth. And the fags are doing this. And we're sitting in like a, brother, we in a church. First of all, we don't even go into church. But we're in a church with homosexuals in the pews, pewing. You know, pew, like when we was young, you say pew, it smells. I mean, they was kissing each other. So, but this is the real deep thing politically. Then they showed a video, and the video was about 30 minutes, maybe 45. I can't remember now. It was about 30, 45 minutes. Now, this is 1999, bro. We ain't talking about 2000. I'm talking 1999. Maxine Waters, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Maxine Waters, Cornel West. All of these black leaders were promoting homosexuality. Maxine Waters was talking about how now we have lesbian choirs, and it's so beautiful that we have whole gay choirs. And for me, I was sitting there going, when did the black leadership make the decision that they are going to endorse homosexuality on our behalf? It was like I was in a twilight zone. So anyway, by the end of that day, by the end of the evening, we ended up in a fight because the brother that led our organization stood up to make a statement, and the brothers who were his security in his church, Willie Wilson's church, Union Temple Baptist Church, came down to take the mic, and now two groups of heterosexuals were fighting over this. Now, let me just back up and then go forward because I left out a key point. I actually went with Willie Wilson in 2008 to Ghana. This was before he really started pushing this fag thing hard. He was doing it, but he didn't push it. We didn't understand what was going on. So I went on this trip to Ghana, and it was about 15 people or so. And when we were sitting around a table, he and I started, because at that time I was a huge fan of the Nation of Islam. So, like, if you say anything about the Nation of Islam, you're going to be in a fight. Well, not a physical fight maybe, but it's going to be a conflict. Even though I had tremendous respect for him as the leader, he was talking about the Nation of Islam. I ain't like it. So we were sitting at a table eating, and he was saying, yeah, the Nation of Islam got the knowledge, but a lot of his members at the Nation of Islam Mosque number 4 are coming and joining my church because, see, the nation got the knowledge, but they don't have the spirit. So I'm sitting there looking at him like, this dude hating on the nation. I'm like, nah, dude, I roll with the nation. I wasn't in the nation, but I was like, that's my squad. You know how brothers do. I've been tribal with it. So I said, well, that may be true. I said, but, at least, and see, I was throwing a little jab at him because I wanted to see where he was on this fag thing. So I said, yeah, but, they have some rules that are really good. Like they don't allow brothers to smoke. They don't allow homosexuality. Brother, you would have thought that I told him that I was going to take his wife or something. Because he jumped and got, so you telling me you don't think it's no homosexuals in there? And we started going back and forth. And I was like, wow, he's really into this. And he said something very profound. There's a minister, there's a preacher in this area named George Augustus Stallings, who's a known flaming homosexual. He started Imani Temple Baptist Church. He said, in the Catholic Church, so he said, let me ask you a question. Because we were getting into it, and I was pretty much, everybody at the table was agreeing with me. And he was losing. So he said, what do you think about George Augustus Stallings? And I stopped because he's a brilliant guy, but I said I better give him the right answer. And I said, what I think about him is that he's dangerous. When I said that, he realized he couldn't beat me in the debate, so he just started talking over top of me, and basically, I was a younger brother, so he kind of stepped on it where I couldn't really say nothing else after that. So long story short, then they went to the fight that happened at his church. Then after that, and since that time, he's been, literally, he has a day in his church where it's the day to bring all your homosexual family members to the church each year. So basically, he's the forerunner in the formerly Black Nationalist community and Black progressive community pushing homosexuality in the D.C. area. And he's also a good friend with Minister Farrakhan.
I see that. He's the middleman down there in D.C. with all this stuff. Even though he comes off like he's pro-black and he's got, man, look, I see that like the nose on my face. And that's why I wasn't, Carl Nelson had like a couple of power talk things down there. I wouldn't dare I wouldn't step in there. Even though I liked a lot of the people that were holding lectures, I wouldn't go in there, brother. I wouldn't step foot in there. That's your middleman right there. So I just wanted to call that and just ask you your opinion on that, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother Genie. I appreciate your show. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Straight Black Pride. And the brother just said, so again, I'm totally speculating, brother says, don't run with this, but if money is being given and if the hat is involved, then here's a point. Even if the hat's not sitting down directly at the table with the nation, if the hat's going through Wilson and the money's going through or whatever the case may be, it's a lot of different ways to think it happened. Again, I don't know that to be true, and I'm not trying to slander anybody. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of different ways this thing can go. I can tell you, though, definitively Willie Wilson promotes the homosexual agenda. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes about that. I know the man personally. I was in Africa with him on his tour. So I'm telling you what I know, not what I think. Let me go to 0893. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long with the spirit.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long with the spirit. Dr. Khaled Muhammad. How you doing, Brother Genie?
Hey, man, still fighting about it. You got something in the background. If you can turn it down, it'll help a little bit.
Sure, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. That sounds fantastic.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the Nation of Islam and also with the Million Man March last month. It's all around when he had all the Black Lives Matter, Jeremiah Wright, and the guys you spoke of, Willie Wilson and that Randy Chief character, and they brought the weak messages. And a couple of Saturdays ago, remember that because at the school in Columbia, South Carolina, with the cop brutalized the little girl.
Yes, sir.
It was I was at a rally out there, and yeah, another group of the nation was from Atlanta, Georgia, called Muhammad 15, and the minister is Eric Muhammad, and they was there with selling this, supporting and selling the newspaper, and we wanted them to speak, and then I guess Farrakhan's group came out there. It was like a few brothers and some MGP sisters out there. They came out and they spoke. And one of the organizers, one of Eric Muhammad's ministers to speak, and they didn't want him to speak at all. They conspired not for him to speak. And then prior to that, they spoke a weak message. So none of against Elijah Muhammad's teaching. And it was so weak, man. Everybody was disappointed in that, especially us in the RBG community here in South Carolina.
Let me stop you for 1 second just so I can let people know something. I'm going to let you finish, though. We only got 90 more seconds. Actually, we only got a minute now. If you want to call in, because it's going to cut off on the Internet, you can call in 347-850-1836. Again, 347-850-1836. We're going to allow everybody to finish their statement. So if you want to continue to hear the rest of the show live, you can call in now. If not, you can listen to the replay. Again, 347-850-1836. Let me go back just to clarify something, then I want you to go ahead and go forward and finish what you're about to say. Now, when you said there's something online with Minister Farrakhan, Rainy Cheeks, and all these people, are you talking about the Million Man March, or are you talking about a different event?
Million Man March.
Okay, got you. Okay, so go ahead. You were saying that they wouldn't let the particular minister from Atlanta speak, and then you were going to tell us what was going on.
Yes, because it was one of the organizers. I guess she was part of I got the organization called Black Girls Matter. That's what it's called. I guess it's all true. Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
And they wouldn't let the brother speak. They would not let the brother speak.
And But now I want to understand the relevance of it. They wouldn't let.
Yeah, the minister from Atlanta speak.
Okay, and what is the relevance of that? Why did they not want him to speak? Was he?
Because they are, I guess, they're the group that represents the Elijah Muhammad's message, and they're not really for Minister Farrakhan's message, whatever.
Okay, so now wait a minute. Now the people that wouldn't let him speak, were they in the Nation of Islam or were they?
Yes, it was part of the Nation of Islam, and I guess the Black Lives Matter organization. They wouldn't let the brothers.
Whoa! Wait! Are you telling me the Nation of Islam was working with the Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
Ho! Slow down. We gonna go back again. Wait, man, because I wanna get this, because now Black Lives Matter is financed and controlled by George Soros, the small hat. That is clearly and definitively a small hat movement. There ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes in that. That's a fact. Now.
Yes, sir.
You're telling me for sure. Wait a minute. I want to make sure. I want to ask this because I want to get this right and exact. According to you, because I wasn't there, I got to go with my brother. You're saying that between the Nation of Islam, you're saying that the Nation of Islam was working together with Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. And also, there's also an organization called the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement.
Okay, wait, hold. The Malcolm X Grassroots Movement is clearly pro-homosexual organization with a bunch of homosexuals in it. That's an absolute fact. I'm certain of it. So wait a minute. Are you sure you're telling me that the Nation of Islam was working in conjunction with the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement and with the Black Lives Matter?
Yes, sir.
Well, brother, and again, I'm not questioning you. I'm just saying this is huge, because if that's true, then the answer is obvious. The $33 million, it was proved. Okay, it was in his tax return. George Soros has spent $33 million financing the Ferguson movement and the Black Lives Matter movement. All of those movements, he is funding them.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
Then, if the nation is working with them, then perhaps they're.
I'm not saying they were working with them. They were conspiring against the brother, not letting him speak after Rob.
I'm saying the nation was working to organize. Were they working with Black Lives Matter? Is my question.
My assessment, I believe so. In my assessment, I believe so. I believe it.
Let me tell you what I.
In my observation, what I see, they in cahoots.
Let me tell you why that, for me, is extremely relevant for us to mention. And when I say extremely relevant, I mean extremely relevant. It's extremely relevant because the primary nemesis of straight black pride movement, the first ones to come out vocally and try to shut down our movement, is the Black Lives Matter. So that if the nation is working with the Black Lives Matter, there ain't even no question, because Black Lives Matter has identified. So it means that what they're doing is, instead of the homosexuals, it means the nation is working, the nation at some level, some folks in the nation are working with the homosexual infrastructure, LGBT, and now the LGBT have given them instructions. Instead of us going out there and fighting the straight black pride movement and fighting the movement of black people that's pushing for black family, we're going to make you go out there, since you're one of their community, and you represent the homosexual interests from the perspective of heterosexual members of the Nation of Islam. And by the way, here's your check. That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
Whoa, that's a bombshell. That's it. You telling me that the Nation of Islam is working with black? I'll be honest with you. The reason I believe it, because the way the minister, Southwest Regional Minister Robert Muhammad, the way he structured his decision to make sure he put on the board that we should work with the homosexuals was so politically crafted intentional and intentionally disruptive to what we were doing, it could not possibly be mistaken as an accident. That I totally believe what you're saying. It makes so much sense in this equation that I couldn't figure out.
I'm speaking the truth. I see this on my own eyes. I was there. I see this on my own eyes, Brother G.
And they would not let the other brother who didn't represent this whole. So now what's wait a minute. Now the pieces are coming together. So even though Black Lives Matter wasn't at the march, they prevented me from talking, not even on the stage. They prevented me on the sidewalk from convincing a sister that it wasn't appropriate to wave the red, black, and green flag while she was participating and supporting homosexuality. So the nation prevented me from doing that. Well, that's not really the nation. It's physically them, but they're doing that at the bequest of Black Lives Matter, which is at the bequest of the homosexual LGBT community, which is all being funded by George Soros, the small hat. Bingo.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
So the nation is being paid to be the military force to prevent the Pan African community from speaking out against homosexuality. They're the security guards. They're the military force to enforce homosexual agenda on the black community. Elijah Muhammad's FOI is being used as the military force within the Pan African Black Nationalist community to force homosexuality on African people. They're being paid to do it. And they're being told by their higher-ups that they have to, and they're following orders. Dang.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Well, brother, I'm so glad you called this program because we needed this information because I ain't going to lie to you. There's no way I would have put that together, but you're right. And let me just say one more time. I'm not trying to make stuff that make perfect sense. We went there. I didn't even start the conversation. Sister comes up. She's talking this gay stuff with that flag. You know I'm going to say something about it. People start listening. I mean, they got 1 million people in the middle. There's about 20 or 30 of us on the side. And they run over and stop us from talking and then tell the brother we're not supposed to be talking about that. We all supposed to be coming together. They told the brother that. We're supposed to be coming together with the homosexuals. That is not coming directly from the nation. The small hats have paid groups, put the money in, the leadership is bought off, and now the leadership is making the body politic of the Nation of Islam enforce homosexuality. So it starts with them preventing us from talking. Then the next level is go to their events and start pushing the homosexual agenda from the position of the Nation of Islam, which makes people have a difficult time figuring out what's going on because when we see nation, we see brothers and sisters we respect. So it's like, well, they not gay, so even though they pushing the gay agenda, there must be some confusion. No, they've been bought. Dang.
That was seems like to me. That was seems like to me because I think this is my opinion, and this is my opinion. Ever since I watched your video on what happened after March. Whatever. This is my opinion. Ever since you brought this you started the Launch Your Street Pride movement. I think the target is against you. You the target.
Can I say something?
They also connected the dots with what happened from you and Bermuda also.
Go ahead.
The target is against you.
Let me tell you why I say this. Now again, I'm being totally speculative, but I never want to come off like no arrogant, egotistical dude. But let me tell you what happened. And I'm glad you just said that, brother, because you allowed me to say this. It was very weird. Now, look, let me ask you a question. If you were going to do a 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, when would you start advertising that? How long in advance?
I say at least. I say a year. I say 2 years in advance.
Okay, you said the same
I
thing.
say 2 years in advance.
You said the same thing everybody said. Either 2 years in advance is everybody's answer. They said, but at the very minimum, a year in advance. That's like the bare minimum. Let me tell you what happened.
Yes.
And again, I'm not saying that there wasn't somebody speaking of it, but let me just tell you from what my observation. In March, we announced that we were launching the Straight Black Pride movement in August of this year. A month later, in April, the Nation of Islam was saying they were doing the 20th commemoration of the Million Man March.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to be honest with you. When I saw it, my radar instantly went off, and that's how I knew that they were going to be promoting homosexuality, because my spirit told me, this is the small hats using the Nation of Islam to cut off the momentum of the Straight Black Pride movement. And they're going to be there to promote homosexuality to undo whatever momentum you create in August, which is exactly what they tried to do. Now, I never told anybody that I thought that, not publicly, because I did not want people to say, hey, they got this big ego, they da-da-da. And if I was wrong, I didn't want to misspeak. But I agree with you. So, in addition to that, here's what's going to really blow people away. Stuff I don't tell people usually. Calls have been made around different places to bring Minister Farrakhan in venues that are new venues where I've been in a year in advance so that the next year I won't be able to come there.
They also are running because it's the ministers here in Charleston. They wouldn't let Minister Farrakhan speak here. Because, with the Charleston 9 and also with Brother Walter Scott being shot in the back. You wouldn't let him come down here and speak. Everything now to me is making perfect sense. This is a small hat LGBT agenda.
And now they're using the Nation of Islam to fight those of us who believe in black family. They're using them as the pawns to get us in conflict with.
Yes, sir.
This is what I want you to do, brother, and everybody out there listening. When I finish this program, it's going to post to my Facebook page, Irritated Genie. Even if it doesn't, you can go to Blog Talk Radio, Straight Black Pride Movement. I want everybody out there to share this program and tell people it's a must listen to. I want everybody out there, I want you to send it to your friends in the Nation of Islam. I want you to send it to your friends who are not in Nationalists. I want you to send it to everyone. Everyone needs to hear this and make a conclusion for themselves. We do not need a repeat of a black organization where the people in it are good, being used as a pawn organization to stop the genuinely positive interests of black people to move forward and fight against this homosexual agenda. We cannot allow the small hats to use a few in leadership in the Nation of Islam to get all of us at odds over an issue that we all should be easily able to agree upon. And the only way we can make that not happen is to expose it so broadly that the people say we will not allow this. And the brothers and sisters in the nation say we're going to take a stand. We will not allow our institution to go down in history as being promoting homosexuality. Thank you, my brother.
I'll do that. I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
Where's Mr. Farrakhan's relationship with Father Flager? What is his role in it?
I mean, he always says Father Flager is his brother, but I can't answer it any deeper than that.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'll definitely do that, sir. I'll definitely do that. And you keep doing what you're doing, man. You keep doing what you're doing, man. You got my support, and whoever's against this homosexual agenda, they also have your support, and on my behalf.
Well, appreciate you, brother. Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride.
Those are my RBG warriors down there in South Carolina. So people think y'all don't love the RBG. What are you talking about, man? Everybody that's righteous loves Genie. No, I'm just joking. That's not true. But I love my RBG brothers and sisters, and they out there, but they in there putting in that good work. You ain't gonna get nothing but love on this side. Let me go to 8284. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. Let me go to 0156. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Talk to me, bro.
Okay, hold on, that's my turn. Hey, I want to talk to you about what's called Louis Farrakhan. I think I seen him on Facebook, right? That guy, I don't understand, to the point where he has seen a disgrace, some people's names, like, talking to him about, putting the business out there, talking about Khalid Muhammad and Martin Luther King, this kind of stuff. And I don't know what he's trying to accomplish, and I feel like, when people say something like that behind people's back when they pass away, it's not right. And we know that he either he supported with, the homosexuality or not. But not just him, all other people who support that movement, they are messing up the movement, So, I have so much to say, but, I didn't like the way he was saying things, because, I think I've seen it on Facebook that you posted, and some other people, they were like, homosexuality is the only way. And I disagree with that, So, the Nation of Islam needs to be based. Yeah.
Well, go ahead and finish. I want to let you go ahead and finish your point. We ran a little bit over time, so I want to make it snappy. But go ahead and I want you to finish your point, though.
No, my point is that we need to do better, respect better. Respect our past leaders. Instead of trying to just don't do it because somebody else pressures you to say it. Trying to please the other person. Because I feel like when he was saying those things, he was trying to please somebody. That's for a fact.
All right. Well, let's leave it right there, my brother. We definitely got your point. Well taken. And make sure you continue to call in. All right. See you on the battlefield.
Peace, man.
Straight like fire. And the brother makes a good point too, because I don't know how many people have seen the clip, but we put up one called. If you go to Irritated Genie Facebook page, you'll be able to see it. The black leaders supporting the homosexual agenda, past and present. And in there, there's a speech Minister Farrakhan did where he was talking about Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad and Brother Malcolm. And he alluded to, he did not specifically say that they were homosexual, but he alluded to it in the things that he was saying. And it was very disrespectful because he was saying things about Brother Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad that I don't believe to be true. And, of course, Brother Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad is not here to defend himself. And basically his point was that Dr. Khalid wasn't really a warrior. He was really abused, and that was why he was so strong. It wasn't really that he was a strong black man. It was that he was abused and dealing with the pain from his abuse. So it was a very, very disrespectful, and I feel like it was tacky and tasteless and classless kind of behavior in that instance. I didn't like it at all, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm still bitter behind that because the man's passed. Why would you try to spit on our brother and sodomize him in his grave? It was you violating the man in his grave. The man ain't here no more. Let us remember him the way we want to as our shining warrior, as our warlord of our time. But at any rate. And it had a whole homosexual overtone where it was kind of promoting. It was basically saying that strong black men like Brother Khalid and Brother Malcolm are really weak, effeminized men, and effeminized men are really the strong ones. There's some psychology that I could see right through. It was pretty perverted and sick. And we also got to remember that he came out a couple years ago and said that Tyler Perry is a spiritual giant. So let's not forget that. All right, 8231. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. How you doing, Genie?
Oh, man, I'm doing good because I know you about to drop it on me. You're going to drop it quick, but drop it on me. I know it's coming. Let me have it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate this show and everything. You also got to add that... what's his name? Roland Martin. He's advocating that homosexuality. That's why you have Cleo Monago on there every time he can get a chance because he's promoting it. He's just a straight up Negro.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up because you remember Roland Martin made some kind of comment about homosexuality. He called somebody a faggot. Or he made some kind of comment. I don't remember exactly what it was. Ever since he's made that comment, now all of a sudden he has this blatant homosexual Cleo Monago that backs him up not only on his television show and that he has on a regular basis on his television show, but there also is his backup on his radio program. So let's just say it's pretty uncomfortable to see Roland Martin with this homosexual behind him at every turn. And he is definitely out there on the forefront being a promosexual and being very favorable to this homosexual agenda. So thank you. I did miss that. And that is important because Roland Martin is not on our team. And I'm glad you brought that up, my brother.
Yes, sir. And that's pretty much all I have to say, brother. I know you're running short out of time, and I just want to add that to the equation.
Thank you, brother. As always, I already know. Look, you one of them good calls where I already know when I see the number, when I hit the button, I know I'm going to get the good stuff. Good stuff, brother.
Yes, sir. Straight Black Pride.
Yes, sir. There you go. He come in and he look. It took him a minute to get acclimated to the program. Now he come and don't do nothing but hit home runs. That's how we do it here, boy, on the Rising. It makes you better. Straight Black Pride. 8480, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. $68.63, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. $72.59, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. 0492, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All right. Anonymous call, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 5983, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. 4517, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Come on in here, talk to me, my brother.
I just have a question. What was the explanation when they had Cleo Manago demanding more march? Like, what was the excuse or explanation given for that? Or
well, let me tell you what happened with that. Even though people saw it, no one made a big issue out of it to get a response. I'm going to be honest with you. I am of the opinion that had we not put it in our videos and made such a issue out of it, that he would have been the speaker at this march. However, we exposed it so thoroughly, and there were so many people that would have been looking for that, the decision was made to not have him at this one. Now, that is what I'm assuming, and I'm confident, but I don't have proof to that end.
All right.
That it?
I enjoyed your lecture in Toronto the other week.
All right. Now, let me ask you, were you there when we did the effeminization of the black male?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. So did you stay to the end?
I stayed, right to the end, yeah.
Okay. Can you, just so for people that, are listening and they want to know, when I say that the brother from the Nation of Islam got rather indignant, would I be accurate in saying that?
Yeah, he was disrespectful. I think a lot of people in the Nation of Islam, they've made Farrakhan a sacred cow. If you know what that means. I don't know if you know what that means, but...
Okay, I got you.
I just want... They basically, anything Farrakhan does at this point, they'll go along with it at some point. I mean, some people will leave, but I don't know if the critical thinking is not there. They'll just go along with anything at this point.
All right. Well, thank you for your input, brother, and for that verification. It really helps a lot. And thanks for tuning in all the way from Canada, brother. Appreciate you. Definitely appreciate all the support, all right?
All right, Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride. Love going to Canada. We're going to get a Straight Black Pride chapter set up there before you know it. 6019, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, belong to the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. $64.83, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, belong to the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, along with the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. This is Malcolm. I've been listening to the speech, man. This has been great. I didn't get to listen to all of it, but I listened to probably the last hour, and it's been really, really awesome stuff. I got two questions. I know that you about to wrap up really quick, or two points. The first one's a question, and that's listening to all the stuff you're talking about. How do you deal with or what would be your point for people who are so wrapped up in this whole gay stuff? For example, I got like some people that I know that who are like strongly they're conscious people. They listen to Malcolm, they listen to Elijah Muhammad, they listen to all that stuff, and now they're like saying, well, man, you listen to this Ghazi guy, you listen to all this, homosexual stuff now, like, oh, it's okay, because it's still adult Black Lives Matter movement issues, like, okay, well, it's okay, because they're still saying whatever, but it's like pushing on this homosexual stuff. So, like, what would you suggest for handling those type of individuals? Like, should you, like, they listen to your stuff, they're like, but they're like adamant, like still closed off.
Wait. Let me ask you a specific question. Have they specifically watched the effeminization of the black male Reloaded?
I'm not sure if they've watched that one specifically.
They have.
Yeah, I'm not sure they watched that one specifically.
Let me tell you what you do. This is what you got to do.
Okay.
I'm telling you because it's been tried and tested. You got to get a copy of the effeminization of the black male Reloaded. Order you a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Do not tell them what they're coming to watch. Say, man, I got this new thing to check out. Let's watch this. I got a new Genie there since you said it. I want to watch it. Let's all watch it together. Don't try to convince them of anything. Just sit down and watch it.
Okay.
If they watch that with you from beginning to end,
mm-hmm.
and if there's any sincerity in them, by the time that is over, you're not going to have that same fight. So that's the way to do it. It was created for that very purpose.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Give me your second one, the point you want to make.
Yeah. The second point. Well, it's not a question, but it's kind of a question. Have you been? Because I see where you've been focusing at, and this is kind of on the opposite side a little bit, but not really because it's dealing with censorship. Have you heard about the whole situation with YouTube Red? Because I got involved. I first started listening about your stuff, and I talked to a lot of people who have, they say they listen to a lot of your stuff from like watching YouTube. And this new thing called YouTube Red that's coming out, down the line is going to basically cut that off. That's basically what it's going to get down to. Like in the next year, maybe less than that, but they're going to be like completely censoring out anything that's quote unquote considered controversial. So like any videos that are like showing like black black men and women getting like shot by the police, or being like that girl getting body slammed by the police officer in school, any of your videos and stuff like that, that's gonna be completely cut off when YouTube Red starts making.
Okay, so it's called YouTube Red.
Yeah, it's this new subscription-based thing, but it's gonna basically, next, like I said, next 6 months, not immediately, but like in the next 6 months, a year from now, they're gonna be phasing out all of YouTube, and it's just gonna be YouTube Red. And YouTube Red.
Let me tell you something. And I gotta ask everybody out there, because something I've been asking people for a long time, have not been able to find anybody willing to do it. This is what we have to do. I'm so glad you said this, brother, because matter of fact, our next program might be about this. We have to start a black, quote unquote, YouTube infrastructure where we can control what can go up on it and what can be removed, so that when they take it down, we'll be happy because we'll have our own infrastructure. That's how we got to do it. It's the only thing we can do.
Okay.
And I'm glad you said that. As a matter of fact, can you do me a favor? It'll be really important to me. But matter of fact, if you do me this favor because of how important that good information is, I'll work out a deal with you. When you get that effeminization of the black male DVD, we'll send you an extra one on the house. I want you to do me a favor. Send an email to Liberation at waronthehorizon.com.
All right, say it one more time. Liberation
at waronthehorizon.com. And say, I'm the brother. I want to remind you that you should do a program on YouTube Red and creating an independent black means for us to put out videos and share information so that we can't be censored. That's very important. That's a major infrastructural decision we have to make, and we got to get on it now. So I know we only had 6 months. We need to move on this. It's very important that you called about, brother. Thank you.
Because the way it works, actually, I know you close enough. So just because the way it's gonna work is it's like you first, they have it right now where it's like, oh, you get it for free and all that stuff. And the way it's like if you produce videos on YouTube, you're considered a partner. And so when that starts, making that for people who sign up to YouTube, it's because it's called YouTube.com/red, not YouTube Red. It's YouTube.com/red, so it's a part of YouTube. And so when you are a partner, they're gonna okay, well, now you got to sign this contract saying that if you want to keep producing videos on here, you gotta you got to sign this contract, and that contract is gonna say no controversial media allowed.
They haven't been able to get the world to concede to censorship. So basically what they're going to do is take the available means of sharing information and limit them to get people scattered and figuring out how they're going to do it. So we need to get on top of it, which is good for us anyway. Because what we want to do is get people off of YouTube where they can get everything, particularly if we, in the African nationalist community, if we create an alternative that's as good and beneficial as YouTube, then we can now control. Now I can say, I don't like the N-word. So now I can say, anything with the N-word I don't want to put on. So I can do the censoring, which I would love to do. And then I can take anything that's pro-white and brothers generation today. No, that's not good. We don't want this here. And now, only going to be on there is Dr. Clark and Straight Black. Brother, send this to us and remind me in there that, I want to get a DVD of the Feminization Reloaded, and we can tell you how to do it, and you'll get one on the house as well, all right?
Okay. All right, I'm doing that now.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you. Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride. And I want to see you down there in Norfolk this weekend. You going to make it?
You know what? I think I might be able to.
All right. Well, check for all the information on our events page on onehorizon.com. Check out the events to get the location. House of Consciousness. Come on down Saturday or Sunday. Check us out. You'll really enjoy it, all right?
All right.
Straight Black Pride. Last call for alcohol. 2995. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Elder Sister for Philly. Just enjoying the program as usual, Genie.
All right. Well, thank you. We love you, sister. We definitely see you on the battlefield. Straight Black Pride. Well, with that said, brothers and sisters, we're going to keep doing the work, keep fighting, keep struggling, keep working on behalf of our people. I know that this program hurt a lot of people, particularly my brothers and sisters wearing the colors and the spirit of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I know it hurt you tonight. I know it did, but I got to shake the tree. I got to get you to do the right thing. I got to get you to do your part to maintain the infrastructure that we've all come to know and love as the Nation of Islam. You got to do your part, brothers and sisters. I can't tell you how because I don't know the answers, but I got to inspire you to figure out what you got to do to be righteous and right on this one. And so we know you might be upset, but hey, I always tell you, we ain't come here to make no friends. We came here to save our race. We love y'all, brothers and sisters, and we'll see you on the battlefield. War on the horizon. You gotta love it.
Check. Shout out to Lone Star RBGs. Sahel United Front. I want to thank y'all, man. University Ave. All the support, all the love through the years. End of the road. Yeah. It's the moment's revenge. All my people. Last stop on this train. May your spirit live on forever. Train and liberation. Back to the old. Let's go. Queen Johnny Green. Jay Black. Irritated Genie. What up, brother? Wild. Yeah. Glorious Asiatic. Let's go. The guards I got so many things to say, but little time to say it. My grandmama told me that your life is what you make it. My ancestors told me human life is what is sacred. And love is something real, but not impossible to fake it. Most brothers base their life on trying to get a sister naked. Gain material possessions, manhood measured by their paper. Self-worth determined by a decimal and comma. Harder to develop honor growing up without a father. We need some body armor, but you waiting on karma to fight this wicked beast while you puffing on a scammer. You can smoke the ganja, but you can't escape your problems. Saw a brother on a train eating chains like Obama. A penny for his thoughts, so I gave the man $1, and he dropped some knowledge on me. He had wisdom like a scholar. He told me keep cool and never ever follow a fool on the battlefield, cause he'll be the groom to recite the fatal nuptials and marry the tomb. Always be certain, never try to assume that every mess can be cleaned with the mop and the broom. Hit every cop in the room if you poppin' your ooze. Mud stains on his clothing and his knuckles all swollen. It seemed like he was glowing after every word spoken. His voice sounded raspy from the cigarette smoking. I dropped some more change inside the cup that he was holding. I told him keep talking. He said let's walk. Then old Malcolm X tape speeches playing in his Walkman. It had a button missing and he said that it was given when his daughter came to visit him in prison on Christmas. Some people kept their distance from the sense that he admitted, but they mingled with these dirty, filthy crackers. What's the difference? I asked him for his name, and his eyes showed pain like a child that's lost, searching for mommy in the rain. I'm the African they stolen, beaten, treated like a slave. I'm the African rebelling, slicing crackers with the blade. The one thrown overboard to drown and miss the waves. The one who sacrificed my life so someone else was saved. The one you keep forgetting, whose history's unwritten. I made a contribution, just hoping I made a difference. People call me Mumia, some call me Matulu, some call me Sundiata. Can't get this wisdom on YouTube. The brother who was linked to some house